The legendary Newt Rockne guided Notre Dame to 8 such starts, and his teams would respond by bringing to South Bend 6 national championships. Rockne's trademark at Notre Dame was his penchant for upsetting heavily favored opponents. He established Notre Dame as America's team with an incredible record of 105 wins in 13 seasons. Frank Leahy, a tackle on Rockne's last 3 teams, would guide the Irish to another incredible run at the top spot of college football. The names would fill a Heisman Trophy locker room as All-Americans Angelo Bertelli, John Lujack, Leon Hart, and John Latner would emerge under Leahy's guidance to win 5 national titles. Leahy's teams would go on to win 87 games in 11 years. The mantle of excellence would be passed on eventually to Ara Parseghian, who ushered Notre Dame into the modern era of college football with 3 more national titles. Under Parseghian, the Irish ended their self-imposed 45-year bowl exile and won a remarkable 95 games in 11 years. In Lou Holtz's 3rd season at Notre Dame, there's a growing sense that the Irish are on the verge of yet another golden age. The defeat of top-ranked Miami a week ago settled several scores that the Irish have had hanging over their heads. The 31-30 win brought an end to Miami's 36-game regular season unbeaten string and catapulted Notre Dame to 2nd in the polls, their highest ranking in 7 years. Is a national championship within Notre Dame's grasp this season? The next important step takes place today as the Fighting Irish battle the Falcons of the Air Force Academy live at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana. Good afternoon and welcome to another afternoon of great American independent football. I'm Steve Martin along with Bob Cacciola. Notre Dame 6-0, gunning for a national championship already. People are talking about, are they that good?
Sure, they're that good. There's no question about their ability. After today with the Air Force and Navy next week, it's really Penn State at home in Southern California. There's no question that they have a shot at it, and they're rolling right now.
What about the Air Force, though? They come in here at 5-2. They're a team that puts a lot of points on the board.
They sure can. They run the wishbone attack as well as anybody in the country. Fisher-DeBerry's offense is outstanding. They got all the qualities they need at quarterback and the fullback and the running back positions. There's no question they can move the football. The test today is, can they stop Notre Dame at all to stay within this ball game?
This is what these 2 teams have done so far to date. As far as Air Force is concerned, Air Force looks at a 5-2 record, and their 2 losses, Bob, really by a space of only 22 seconds.
Well, the big game, of course, is when they lost to Wyoming, which is a very good football team in the last second. But they're tough. They can score. But you can see people can score against them also.
Notre Dame opened the season with a very dramatic win, of course, over Michigan, and then they defeated Michigan State, but nothing more dramatic than last weekend's win over Miami.
That was the big one for them. They had to do it. They did it at home. They came back. They vindicated themselves after several years of frustration against the Miami Hurricanes.
Now, of course, today we're going to see a battle of 2 good quarterbacks, and Air Force certainly brings a very qualified quarterback here in D. Dallas.
D. Dallas is not very big, but he is so quick, and he can really execute. This number 6 runs this wishbone attack to perfection, as you see him here riding the fullback, coming down the line of scrimmage and tucking the ball in and keeping it himself as he can motor. He's not big, as I said, but he's awfully quick, and he makes the right decision.
And he holds a single-season rushing record for a quarterback in NCAA play with 1,300 yards. He's a good one, but when he throws, he can throw for big yardage because it's a big surprise.
It is a surprise. They run the ball so effectively. Here he hits Cochran, the wide receiver who has the speed to get deep and is the threat down the field. And because of that, when they do throw the ball, and I expect that they're going to try to do it today, they're very effective.
Well, they may have to. And when he does throw the football, he throws it for about 21 yards a reception, and that's big yardage any way you put it. And of course, on the other side for the Fighting Irish, Tony Rice. What can you say about this young man from Woodruff, South Carolina?
Just a great athlete, and he has developed because of his experience last year as a leader on this ball club. He can run the option extremely well. He can keep it, he can pitch it, and he's got the backs to put the ball on the corner, as we see here with Mark Green.
He's the 3rd leading rusher on this team. Don't forget that, and he needs just 17 yards to break Joe Theismann's rushing mark for a quarterback in a single season of 368 yards.
He's worked hard over the summer to work on his passing game, and he does have the arm. They're so effective running the football. He, too, when he throws it, can surprise you with it, as we see him here, hitting the ball, getting the ball upfield for a long gain. So Tony Rice is truly an outstanding athlete, highly recruited coming out of high school. He's starting to pay dividends for Lou Holtz and for the Fighting Irish right now.
And, of course, they've got him throwing to the dartboard to try to get his motion as far as passing is concerned. He says that's a pretty good deal for him. So we'll see how he throws the football here this afternoon. That's going to be a very very, very key ingredient. You know, Tony was talking yesterday, a very personable guy, about the pressure of being a Notre Dame quarterback yesterday. He's a kid that really has handled it well.
I think he's handled it extremely well because so many people have their eyes focused on him alone. He's gotten a lot of publicity last year in his first year, and he really performed well last year. He's come back this year, and of course, when you're undefeated, what else can you say? It really reached that pinnacle so far.
8 for 16 last week, 185 yards. I'd say did pretty well. We're going to talk to the coaches in just a moment, so stay right with us here. Notre Dame and the Air Force after this word from your local stations. Welcome back to Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana. As you see, this will be the 18th time that these two teams have met. The Irish lead at 13-4, but Air Force's wins came all in a bunch from 82 to 84. And last year, of course, Notre Dame won 35-14. The Air Force is coached by a good one, Fisher DeBerry, his first head coaching job in Division I football, and he's made it a very successful one.
He's worked his way up through the ranks of South Carolina High School and Wofford College, where he went to, and he came from Appalachian State, where Kenny Hatfield, the former head coach of the Air Force in Arkansas, brought him on the scene to become and run the Wishbone, and he took over when Kenny went on to Arkansas, and ever since it's been history and very successful.
And of course, Fisher DeBerry, the coach of the Air Force Academy today in his 4th season, 3 bowl appearances, 40-16 in his record as head coach of the Falcons. We asked Coach Fisher DeBerry about facing Notre Dame, and is this the right time to face them after such an emotional win over Miami?
Well, I sure hope so, but you know, Lou and his staff do such a great job in preparing their teams, and we know that we'll face a very, very prepared Notre Dame team today. Certainly, I would hope that they're still thinking a little bit about Miami, but I know that they, feel good about their chances in winning the national championship. And good football teams, they don't have temporary setbacks.
You look at the success that Notre Dame has tasted this season under Lou Holtz. Are they a little bit ahead of schedule?
I think he's a year ahead of schedule. I think really they were thinking it would be next year. They came into this season with so many young players on offense, particularly in the offensive line, where all their starters, if you put all their time together last year, ended up playing about 4 minutes. So they've done a wonderful job. They're well ahead of schedule, but they're excited about it.
And they have a very, very tough opponent to face today in the Air Force Academy. We had an opportunity to talk to Lou Holtz earlier and asked him to assess a very formidable opponent in the Falcons.
I think, number one, when you look at the Air Force, you have to look at 46.4 points per ball game. I mean, that is really scary. I mean, they run up and down that field. D. Dallas is probably the best option quarterback I've ever seen, and that includes Jeremiah Holloway and Lott and everybody else that the great ones that Oklahoma's had. This individual can throw the ball. He doesn't make any wrong decisions. I've never heard of a fullback averaging almost 9 yards a carry, a quarterback averaging 8 yards a carry this late in the season.
And as you heard, Lou Holtz has a lot of respect for Air Force, what they can do offensively, and their wishbone attack. And is Notre Dame back? Well, today we may find the answer to that. The 26th time they've gone 6-0 to start a season, their best start since 1980. And the Air Force Academy stands dead ahead of them as we continue here at Notre Dame Stadium. It's kickoff coming up, Notre Dame and Air Force, so stay with us right after this. Welcome to Notre Dame Stadium, South Bend, Indiana. They've sold out here since 1966, and today will be no different, even though the students are not here. As you see the captains in midfield, Steve Martin here along with Bob Cassiola. The Air Force Academy coming in here at 5-2 as you see them enter, coached by Fisher DeBerry, whom you heard from just a few moments ago. They've won 4 of the last 6 outings with Notre Dame. They certainly think they can win here today. They have to think that they can win here today with a defense that is troubled, but an offense that is very, very potent. You look at
an offense that is led by a great quarterback, a young junior from Royston, Georgia, as we look at Fisher DeBerry, and he's done quite a job in his stay. And here come the Irish.
Lou Holtz getting ready to lead them out. They've won 9 straight games here at Notre Dame Stadium. You know, Bob, we were talking about what Notre Dame's strategy might be here today. They can play this one of 2 ways, I feel, as they look at the Air Force Academy and that wishbone offense this afternoon.
Well, I know that Lou Holtz would like to get up on these guys quick and then hold the football, keep it away from that wishbone attack. And to do it, he can do one of two things. He can take his quarterback, Tony Rice, who is an outstanding runner, and put the ball up a little bit, because the Air Force Academy secondary is very suspect. Or he can use another fellow that we saw last year when we did the BC game here, and that is quarterback Kent Graham, who's 6'4", and he is 6'5", actually, from Wheaton, Illinois. He's a perfect drop-back quarterback. So the possibility exists today that the Irish might try to score quickly and do it through the air.
And he has said this week that he will probably look to Kent Graham today. He's had a good week of practice. Let's compare the offenses of these two teams. Air Force, as you see, 46-4 a game in scoring and 432 rushing yards. That total is #1 in NCAA football. Notre Dame at 257. That looks kind of pale in comparison, but that's still 13th best in Division I AA. The total offensive output, as you can see, heavily in favor of Air Force. Yards per play, impressive for both sides, 7.4 to 5.3, and the touchdowns there, impressive on Air Force's side. They've had to score a lot because of the deficiencies that they have on defense. As you see, the Notre Dame band striking off down in the corner of the end zone. Our game conditions, it's partly cloudy. Our temperature 46. The wind out of the northwest at 10 to 15. However, when they took the tarp off this field today, we had 2 showers. One of them a sun shower. The other was a more prolonged shower of about 15 minutes. That may be a factor with two teams who need good footing.
It could be, and any time it's a little bit wet, of course, and you run an option-type offense, which both teams do, you can put the ball on the ground. But that's beside. I think the field is in excellent condition because they did have it, covered most of the evening and early morning, but I don't think that'll be a big factor as we see the sun trying to break through the clouds right now.
And as it is, it reveals the resplendent colors of late autumn here in northern Indiana. Billy Hackett getting set to kick off for Notre Dame. They won the coin toss, but they have elected to defer their option until the second half, and so we'll get to see Air Force's offensive situation here very early. Their receivers to the top of your screen, Anthony Roberson, and to the bottom of your screen, that is going to be Robert Krause, who will receive the kick of Billy Hackett as we'll be underway. This should be a great ball game between two run-oriented offenses as they meet at Notre Dame. There's the kick, and Roberson is circling under it at the 10. At the 25, he's open. Gets down to about the 40-yard line. It's going to be brought down by a host of people for Notre Dame. One of them, most particularly, Juan Francisco. First man in there. Let's take a look at that kickoff once again.
This is a perfect middle return, a wedge return as we watch the offense block up front, give the running back a chance to get upfield. Great field position to start with for the Air Force Academy.
As they start, they'll bring out Roberson out there along with Albert Booker. And their fullback will be Andy Smith, who rushed for 213 yards a week ago. And he gets the call on the first play from scrimmage, straight ahead up over the 40-yard line to about the 45. He's tripped up there by Mike Stonebreaker. Let's take a look at that leader of the Air Force offense. Only 160 pounds, D. Dowis.
But quick and really with lots of experience and lots of confidence. They love him. They say he's a magician. He can be spectacular at times.
667 yards this year in the air, 26 of 57, 576 yards, 1 ticked off. On second down, he goes to the fullback Smith again, pulling his way toward the 50-yard line. And he's going to get a short game, but he's going to be short of the first down. Let's take a look at that Air Force offense, led by Dowis at the quarterback spot.
But of course, they have excellent running backs in Booker and Roberson in the halfback positions, and Smith, the fullback, who you mentioned last week, had a great day, is averaging almost 9 yards per carry. The big guy in the offensive line is that right guard, Latke. He can block with the best of them.
Say he's an All-American candidate. They'll probably run to his side today. Third and short, no score. First possession of the ball game. Andy Smith carries for the first down, goes down on the outstretched arms of Wes Pritchett.
And they ran right over Latke, the right guard, at 6'4", 277. And that's who you come to in the crucials, your best blocker.
Take a look at the Notre Dame defense that played so very well last week. That middle three, Williams, Zorick, and Alm, had an exceptional ball game.
And of course, they've got outstanding linebackers. Pritchard, Stonebreaker, and of course, Bolkar, who will come in for either one of them.
George Streeter, Pat Terrell, both have 2 interceptions each. As you look at Air Force on 1st and 10, and we've got a whistle and probably a delay of game penalty.
It looked like the right tackle, Jeff Johnson, might have moved before the snap, and that's what we got here.
You see the official, Mr. Clinshot. Clinshot, Joseph,
dead ball,
our referee.
ball start on the offense, 1st and 15.
So that sets Air Force back a little bit. Fisher DeBerry not happy with that turn of events. #1 team in NCAA Division I AA rushing. And you know something? When they get over the 50-yard line, they have scored 43 times in 58 attempts. Interesting statistic for Air Force. They'll be going up against the toughest defense they've faced thus far. On the keep, Dallas goes to Booker on the corner. Booker out of bounds at about the 42-yard line. Driven out of there by Wes Pritchett, also Todd Light.
They brought the free safety, Pat Terrell, to come up to make the play on the pitch here. Watch this beautiful ground level shot. You see Dowis coming down. He puts it outside to Booker. Watch the move here on 15. Good block in the open field. He breaks the tackle on 15. Gets good yardage. Gets back 5 yards and 5 yards more than he lost on that penalty. And it's 2nd down and 5.
2nd down and 5 coming up for the Air Force. They're at the Notre Dame 41-yard line. And off, this is going to be Roberson. Roberson goes straight ahead to about the 35-yard line. He's got the first down. Another 5 to 6 yards. Chris Zorich is the man in on the tackle.
When you look at the offensive line of the Air Force from left tackle across, as you watch here, there's a little counter off the option. He hands back to Roberson. He's running behind Hollister at 244, Kevin Bell at 241, and Jim Payne, the center, at 243, Latke 277, and Johnson, the right tackle, 242. There's some size in that offensive line to go along with this offensive backfield that has great ability to make those first downs.
Well, that 428 yards last week, 186 were against Utah. Here's Dowis. Dowis with keep. Dowis got the first down and is inside the Notre Dame 20-yard line, just barely. Coming in on a stop is Todd Light.
I want to tell you, you got to be disciplined. Watch the quick feet on this kid, D. Dowis. Here's the fake to the fullback. He comes back with his trail back right there, number 20 Roberson. But watch his feet here as he gets upfield, pucks the ball. Look at the moves he makes there and gets back inside the block downfield of his wide receiver Cochran. Excellent athlete, D. Dowis.
First down again, no score, but Air Force threatening. Dowis keeps, pitches at the last moment to Booker. Booker inside the 20, and he's wrestled down at about the 18-yard line. It's going to be Ali in on the stop, and Jeff Alm.
Big play by Jeff Alm, a defensive tackle. This is stretched out a little bit here. It's interesting that they're coming wide against Notre Dame in these last 3 options. He kicks the ball outside, but watch 90 come into the picture. Jeff Alm inside out. There's a big play by the defensive tackle, a junior out of Orland Park, Illinois.
Gain of 2 brings up 2nd and 8. Straight wishbone. Counter play almost. Booker coughs up the football. Notre Dame's going to get it. Terrell gets the fumble recovery at the 16-yard line.
Counter option. Watch the step to the right, comes back to the left off this counter option. 29 Smagala fills quickly. Watch the hit. There's Smagala, the cornerback, who made the hit, put the helmet on the football, and that's what you have to do when you run the option. That's the threat all the time. But that was excellent defensive play on the corner by Notre Dame.
So Notre Dame will take over on the turnover by the Air Force Academy with 11:34 left to go in the first period of play at South Bend, Indiana. We have no score. Welcome back to Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana. That is the 10th turnover thus far this season, fumble-wise, for Air Force. They fumbled the ball 22 times and recovered 12 of them. That happens a lot on a wishbone. Here's Tony Rice as he brings Notre Dame out on offense, first time around. And off goes to Mark Green, and Green is stopped for very little gain, and the man who came up to stop him, Mark Lyons, the outside linebacker from Indianapolis.
He's an active kid, Mark Lyons. He came out from the outside linebacker, knifed inside, made the play. As you look at the offensive lineup, Tony Rice, of course, Mark Green, the great tailback out of Riverside, California, Banks the fullback, and Ricky Waters, now a flanker, a tailback a year ago.
There are the linemen. Andy Heck, a converted tight end. Tony Brooks now is the up back. He's the I. Anthony Johnson is in there at fullback. Here comes the pitch to Brooks. On the corner, very little there. Gets out over the 20, over the 15-yard line to the 17. And the tackle is made by Brian Hill.
The Air Force has to do the job. They've got to penetrate the line of scrimmage. They can't afford to let the Notre Dame backs get into the open field where they've got great speed. They've really got to do a job on defense today to stay close. That's the big concern on the part of the Air Force, whether they can do a job defensively to give their offense a chance to operate.
Andy Talt has 2 interceptions for Air Force. As we look at Tony Rice in a passing situation here, 3rd down. Has some time, looking upstairs. Wants Waters, but can't pick him up. He's underthrowing him, and covering on the play is going to be Lester.
Good coverage downfield on the corner by Salmon. As you look here, a little sprint out action, a little fake to his tailback. He pulls up. He's trying to look for Ricky Waters upfield, number 12. Good coverage on the corner position right there by number 37. That's James Hecker, the strong safety.
Jim Sexton coming in now to punt. See his performance this season, his longest of 53, and Roberson is back to receive. Roberson, an exciting punt returner, averaging 12-4. No snap from Bernhardt, and here's the kick. On the run, Roberson at midfield. And he is brought down after about a 4-yard return. After a 38-yard punt brought down there by Pat Terrell, among others. And that's where Air Force will start at their own 47-yard line. So it's Air Force Academy taking the ball over. We've got no score with 10:09 left to go in the first period. We'll be back after this from your local stations. There you see the rushing average. Is Notre Dame's defense an immovable force? Air Force certainly will test it this afternoon with those 432 yards of rushing offense. They're back with the football again. Their midfield after the turnover. That's Crossman who's lining up at the tight end spot. Greg Johnson now in the backfield. D. Dallas improvises at the 40, at the 30, fakes out Light, but he wrestles him down at the 25-yard line.
I mean, that's just athletic ability. 5'10", 155 pounds. He comes down on the option to the left side here, fakes to the fullback, decides the pitch isn't going to be there, and reverses his field on the spot. Comes back, and if it isn't for the great speed of Todd Light, number 1, who is a sprinter out of Flint, Michigan, watch this, he's gone for a touchdown. But a big gain, gets the ball inside the 30-yard line of Notre Dame, and the Air Force offense, particularly with D. Dallas, is very impressive.
22 yards on that play by D. Dallas. First and 10. At the Irish 25. Movement early. Crossman jumps. The tight end.
Hard to believe the right tackle Johnson and Crossman both jumped. Johnson, who started 24 career times for the Air Force, the most experienced lineman they have, has been called off twice already. This is what they can't have. They can't come up with first and long. They've got to stay well ahead.
Good ball. Ball start on the offense. First and 15.
Very interesting how the Air Force comes up. They change the splits of their offensive linemen. They really stretch the defense. And you see it right here. You'll see on the top of your screen a little movement. There's the right tackle jumping. That's number 70, Jeff Johnson. But they stretch the defense, which makes it very difficult to fill the seams and get up as this offense hits that line of scrimmage so quickly.
Air Force averaging 11 yards in each first down play. Right now they need that and 4 more. First and 15, and the fullback Andy Smith gets the call. He threads his way up to about the 26-yard line.
The big test today is for those linebackers, and Notre Dame has 3 great ones in Pritchard, Stonebreaker, and Bolkar. Those guys are going to make a lot of tackles. In that case, it was Pritchard who came up and made the hit. The reason being, so often they break the line of scrimmage, and it's up to those linebackers to fill from inside out, both on the fullback and the quarterback.
One thing you notice about a wishbone offense, not too many lost yards. A wishbone offense. I think I counted up 28 all told all season. Second and 11. Here's Dallas. Pitches to the corner. This is going to be Booker, and Booker gets down to about the 22-yard line, and Pritchard is the man who makes the stop.
And a big hit by Pritchard coming from his inside linebacker position. Watch number 34, 6'6", 251. Watch him follow the ball. He stays a little bit behind it. Perfectly played. When he turns up the field, there's 34 to make the hit. You can't do it any better.
4 yards on the play, brings up 3rd and 7. No score, with 8:22 left to go in the first half. And that's what Pritchard has done this far this season. The linebackers very active, as Bob pointed out. In motion, that's Greg Johnson. Rolling to the top, Dallas. Throws. Did he get it? If he did, yes. That's going to be Steve Senn inside the 10-yard line at the 7-yard line.
A great block on the corner permitted the quarterback Dallas to get out there. Watch the block on the corner of the screen here, which permits him to get on the corner to throw the ball. There it is. They've double-teamed the outside linebacker. He also can run the ball here for a first down. He elects to throw it, and as you said earlier, they don't throw it very often, but when they do, it's big yardage.
15 plus. He gets 15 that time. Down at the 7-yard line. First and goal, Air Force. First man through is Smith. He hits a wall at the 6. And that wall is named Mike Stonebreaker.
Mike Stonebreaker, the junior. Did not play last year, came back this year and won the starting position. There he is. 42, Mike Stonebreaker out of River Ridge, Louisiana.
Dad played with the Baltimore Colts.
Steve Stonebreaker.
Mid-60s. Lee Dowis looking at second and goal from the 5.5. Changing up. And gets barely his life at the 10-yard line. He loses yardage back to the 10, loss of 5. Jeff Alm is there to pick it up.
The big tackle Alm comes down inside the tackle's block, and watch him. He's right on the quarterback there. There's the movement, and that's what you got to do with this guy. You can't give him a chance to get open. Hit him behind that line of scrimmage. Big play by the defense in here. It seems very difficult. Dowis, as we look at the 28 tackles and 1 interception for him, the noise factor here seems to be bothering Dowis down here as he's trying to automatic on the line of scrimmage.
Third and goal from the 9.5. Here's Dowis to the corner, pitches to Johnson. Johnson knocked out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Stonebreaker is there to finish the play.
That's the counter option. He came back. They executed it beautifully. Running it back is Greg Johnson, number 40. Watch this. The step to the left, the fake to the fullback. Now they come back. They pull the left guard Bell around. Puts the ball on the corner. Good defense here by Notre Dame. Even though the cornerbacks, Magala, got knocked down, they came up and made the play, and they've got a 4th down situation.
And a field goal coming up from Steve Yarborough from Skinnacook, Oklahoma. Yarborough 3 for 7. 21 yards, his longest attempt completed. High snap. Here's the kick. It's up there. It's good. And Air Force is on the board first. A kick from 22 yards out. And that'll be his longest of the season. So Yarborough gives Air Force a 3-0 lead over the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame early on in the first quarter here at South Bend. Welcome back as you look at the colors at South Bend, Indiana. A mid-autumn day that feels like late autumn, and the total yards are really convincing in Air Force's favor. They've controlled the football 88-5 as you see, and they have the scoreboard in their favor right now, 3-0 over the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Going back deep now for Notre Dame is going to be Ricky Waters. Waters has been electric on kick returns. Punt returns, he's returned 2 for touchdowns.
He's been the Tim Brown of the Fighting Irish this year. They took him out of his tailback position. They made him a split receiver, and he's done an excellent job there. And they put him back to run back, kickoff, and punt returns. Ricky Waters, just a fine athlete. Adjusted, and Lou Holtz asked his sophomore to do it. He's awfully tough to cover one-on-one. Great speed, especially in the open field.
Steve Yarborough getting set to kick it away. He just nailed a 22-yard field goal, the longest of the season thus far. Give Air Force a 3-0 lead. That tells you something. They have to kick from inside the 20-yard line. That shows you their offense doesn't usually have to take many chances out around the 35. Kick is going to be short. It is picked up at the 16-yard line. Coming out with it is Juan Francisco, and he's out over the 25-yard line. He's going to be brought down to about the 28. It's going to be a return of about 12 yards. We talked to Tony Rice about a lot of talk about people concerned, can he be the typical passing quarterback? Are they being fair?
You know, in my book, in my mind, I don't really care what people say about me. I'm just the type of guy that want to win and will do anything. If it's sloppy, you know, I just still do it. If it works okay, hey, it's a win, it's a win.
It's a win, says Tony Rice. And he's got the Irish out on their second series with the football right now at the 29-yard line. Johnson and Brooks. Brooks with the ball. Brooks out over the 35-yard line to the 36. The most productive play of the afternoon for the Irish. Tackled by Randall Gladney of the Air Force.
As we watch Rice coming back, handing the ball deep to Brooks, the tailback, the sophomore, 6'2", 218 pounds, following the blocking on the right side. They've got a lot of depth in the running back positions. At tailback with Green and Brooks, at fullback with Johnson and Banks, and also Rodney Culver comes in there, the freshman.
Good inside runner, Brooks is. 2nd and 3 after the 7-yard gain. Pitch this time to Green. Green gets his way up over the 40-yard line. He's got a first down. Brought down by Mario Mathis, and Adam tripped him up out of Augusta, Georgia.
Notre Dame's going to work now. They've really got to control the ball. They know they can. They've got the size here and the experience, particularly with the problems the Air Force defense has had. They're just going to get the ball to their best backs here. They toss the ball back to Mark Green, the senior, running behind his blockers, looking for the seam, forcing the safety, Mario Mathis, to come up and make the hit.
Notre Dame looking at first down. Their first earned first down of the day at their own 41. Pitch goes to Brooks, but the play is stopped with a flag on the far sideline.
The flag was thrown by the umpire. Here we come.
Dead ball. Ball start on the offense. 1st and 15.
Third penalty of the afternoon. 1 to Notre Dame, 2 to the Air Force.
As you look at Lou Holtz sending the plays in with his tailback, in this particular case, number 24, Mark Green.
Only seen one pass of the football this afternoon. 19 rushes by these two teams. Actually, 2 passes. Notre Dame had an incompletion in the flats, and D. Dowis, of course, threw a completion inside the 10. Rocket, Raheem Ishmael to the top of your screen. That's the freshman from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. 1st and 15, Rice to throw. And he gets sacked. Dropped by Gabaldo. Also in on the play, Brian Hill.
But the first man through, Gabaldo gets his hands on the face mask, and that's what's going to be called. Big rush. They came from the open side that time. Watch the top of the screen as you see the pressure here as he sprints a little bit, half sprints to his left as he pulls up. Appearing in the scene right on the corner, that man grabs the face mask as you see as he went by him. The call was made. It's a 5-yard penalty. So Notre Dame gets back to 5 yards. They lost in the first, and they were offsides.
Face mask on defense, 5 yards, 1st and 10.
So it's back 1st and 10, and they're at the original spot at the 41-yard line. Eilers comes out. Ishmael and Waters are wide to the top of your screen.
A lot of speed on that in that flanker and slot position right now for Notre Dame.
Ishmael at 4.25.40. Hand off to Johnson. Johnson from South Bend gets up over the 41 to the 42-yard line. Not much running room there as he runs into Pat McNeilis.
McNeilis, the nose guard, a converted center, got through the line of scrimmage, made penetration, and hit the fullback before he got started. Again, the big test today is whether the Air Force, undersized and really run against and passed against by most opponents today, whether they can hold up against this big Notre Dame offensive line.
3 penalties to Air Force, as you saw. We're 2nd and 9 now. Notre Dame. Rice to keep. Over the 50. Has the first down. Gets up to the Air Force 47-yard line, and that's the first excursion into Air Force territory. Andy Toth is in on the stop with Brian Hill.
Just a straight option here with taking to the fullback. He comes right down the line. Good job on the left side. They just push people off and give him a chance to get into the secondary. What a block on the linebacker Hill by the slot back that time. That was Waters.
1st and 10. Notre Dame starting to pile up some offense. They started this drive at their own 28. Eilers across the formation in motion. Pitch to Green. Green met at the line of scrimmage and then heads ahead for about 3 more yards. Maybe he'll credit him with 4 yards on the carry. Coming up to make the stop, Andy Toth.
Again, Mark Green, the leading rusher on this team with 373 yards, trying to find a seam to cut back, and a good job of the Air Force defense. Good penetration in there. Lots of people coming to the football. But when you look up, it doesn't look like much. He picked up 5 yards.
2nd and 5 now for that man, Tony Rice, as he looks over at the Notre Dame, or rather the Air Force defense. Standard 50 set or a 5-2. Here's the pitch to Brooks. On the corner, he's got the first down.
And a great read by the quarterback that time. Tony Rice didn't even bother. He saw that man coming down right away on him, and you pick this up. Watch him right away. He'll see from the right of the screen the pressure right there by number 58, Joe Powell, a linebacker, so he kicks the ball out right away to Brooks and gives him a chance to get upfield for a big game. Excellent execution, particularly on the part of the quarterback, Tony Rice.
444 yards for Tony Brooks this season, 25 yards and 2 carries today, and 4 carries rather. 1st and 10. Full house backfield, wishbone of their own, and this is Waters directing the blocking, and Waters pounces ahead to the 20-yard line. Kilmer is there to make the stop for Air Force.
And they're not being fancy now. They're just coming after him. Little toss sweep. They put Waters back in a position he knows well, halfback or running back position, because they're in a power I. He just looks. Look at the blocking up front. Good block there by number 71, Dean Brown, the right tackle to free him. He gets into the secondary, and Notre Dame's just coming right after him.
12 yards on the carry. This is the 7th play of the drive coming up. Ricky Waters from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. On the carry that time. They're moving out of the I this time around. Brooks on the counter. Brooks trying to get his way around the right side, and there's no room. He's thrown for a loss of 1 by Powell and Gladney at the 21-yard line.
Good job that time. A little counter play trying to get Brooks to come back against the grain that time, but Air Force stayed at home, and Gladney, who may be the best player on the defense, the outside linebacker position. He's a veteran out of Marina, California. Randall Gladney, number 45, made the play and is forcing a 2nd and long.
Air Force leading Notre Dame 3-0, but Notre Dame is moving the football. 1:50 left to go in the first period. 2nd down. On the reverse pitch to Waters. Tries to turn the corner. He will. At the 15. Brought down at the 17-yard line. All that running north and south. He finally gets east for about 4 yards to the 17. Powell is there to stop him.
And bringing Waters back from the slot as he starts to run the option here. He just pitches the ball back. Waters will come into the screen right there. Number 12. And as he comes around, he avoids Petance, the outside linebacker, but he can't get away from 45. There's the key guy, Gladney, who made the hit. And now Tony Rice and Notre Dame's offense is 3rd and long.
3rd down. Notre Dame has been rather good this season. Look at that, 50% of 3rd down conversion. Getting 3rd and 6. Here's Green. Green, successful again. Inside the 10, brought down by Kilmer. They'll mark him down at the 7.
Big block by number 71, Dean Brown, the big right tackle. Counter play, 3rd and long. They elect to run the football, pull both the left guard, Ryan, and the left tackle, Heck into the hole. At 24, Mark Green gets up inside, gets the 1st down, and they're knocking on the door.
9 yards on the play. This is the 10th. 11th play of the drive coming up. It started at the 29 of Notre Dame. 47 seconds left on the first period clock. Air Force by 3. 1st and goal. Green. Green. Touchdown. Mark Green puts Notre Dame on the scoreboard from 7 yards out with a pitch to the right side.
They gamble this time. They blitz the linebacker. You'll see him come through, number 58, Powell, but he can't make the hit. Green gets the block on the corner from his tight end, Derek Brown, and he just makes the play on his athletic ability. Good job. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Reggie Ho is on to kick the point after. He's 20 out of 22 in that category. Young kicker, the walk-on from Kaneohe, Hawaii. Rather unorthodox style. There you see a little sway to the right. Out of the hold of Kent Graham, and there's the kick. Peter Graham, rather, with a hold. It is good. And Notre Dame gets on the board with an exhausting drive of about 6 minutes as they take the lead by a score of 7-3 over Air Force. We'll be back after this from your local station.
Okay, here's the touchdown as we see it. Rice pitching the ball back to Green. Look at the blocking on the corner. The guard pulling around in that particular case is Joe Allen, number 72. Gives Mark Green a chance to get in the end zone. Great effort. And I'll tell you, that Air Force defense was on the field a long time. They can't afford to. Notre Dame is going to wear them down.
It's 11 plays, 5:54 to execute, and they capped it 71 yards later with a Mark Green run of 7 yards on the season as Billy Hackett gets the kick away, and it's taken by Rob Krause at the 17. He hits the seam on the sideline, uses the sideline as an ally, fumbles the ball, but let's see if Air Force is going to keep it.
They're going to say he fumbled the ball out of bounds, but he did find a seam. They put the ball right on the sideline. This is an excellent job here by number 32, Krause, a wide receiver, as he gets back upfield, gets the ball up over the 35-yard line, close to the 40, actually. Good field position for this wishbone offense.
Yeah, they've had good field position all afternoon. They started their first drive at the 41. Here's D. Dallas on 1st and 10. And off Pass goes to Johnson. Almost has the ball stripped from him, but manages to get back. That's Zorich, the middle guard, who had an outstanding day against Miami a week ago.
Zorich comes into this game with 24 solo tackles. He's a big one. Watch him, number 50, right on the nose, plays off the center's block Payne and makes the hit, gives the linebackers a chance to come in. That's tough. The counter play off that wishbone, you got to stay at home, but that time the nose guard Zorich made the play.
And the first quarter ends here at South Bend, Indiana. A successful one for Notre Dame as they get on the scoreboard and lead the Air Force by a score of 7-3. We'll be back after this word from your local station. This game is being brought to you in part by Apple Computer, maker of Macintosh personal computers, giving you the power to be your best. Next week, Great American Independent Football takes you to Baltimore's Memorial Stadium, where these Fighting Irish will be taking on the Midshipmen of Navy. Game time on most of these stations, 12 noon. Right now this afternoon, we're just starting the second quarter at Notre Dame, and it's Notre Dame leading Air Force 7-3. First period stats, Notre Dame started to get it back late in the first period. Here's D. Dallas of Air Force throwing into the flats. It is complete to wide receiver Steve Senn in Notre Dame territory at the 47-yard line.
Just a clean sprint out. We've got a flag on the play, however. Let's see what the call is going to be. But he hit him right on the sprint out, got Senn deep. Shows he can throw the ball when he has to. Senn ran a deep sideline cut. It's going to go against Notre Dame, so the play will count. Will be a first down for the Air Force. Watch this. They don't throw the ball very often, but when they do, they're very effective. Off a little play fake to the fullback. He comes out here and he delivers that ball high.
It is a first down.
Steve Senn on the catch for Senn thus far this season. That's his 10th pass reception and his second of the day. 28 yards for Senn. 14:55 left to go first half. Another first down for the Air Force. This is Andy Smith, straight ahead. Holds his way to the 45-yard line before he's brought down by a host of people led by George Williams and Jeff All.
They keep you honest in there with that fullback, but what the Air Force does very effectively is they change the line splits. They stretch the guard, the middle guard, or nose guard in this case, and the defensive tackles, and they try to slip the ball to the fullback. That time, George Williams played off the block very well from his defensive tackle position to make the hit.
Andy Smith has 6 carries for 21 yards this afternoon. It's 2nd and 8 now for Air Force. Dallas, reverse to Cochran. Cochran alone on the corner. Cochran's got the first down and is knocked out of bounds by Todd Light at the 31-yard line of Notre Dame.
Greg Cochran, the split receiver from Boulder, Colorado, number 80, is very quick. He's their deep threat. They bring him from the flanker position here. Look at the quickness here as he gets on the corner. The dark jerseys disappear, and he's got big yardage, good blocks back, and once again, the speed of Todd Light, the cornerback, number 1, saved Cochran from going all the way, but another first down for the Air Force.
15 yards for Cochran. Huge real estate. 14 yards with a pick. 1st and 10 at the 31 of Notre Dame. This is going to be Roberson. Roberson spins his way to the 25-yard line. Brought down by Corny Southall along with Sorich, Chris Sorich.
Look at the splits in the line. Look at how they split the guards and the tackles there. It's an even defense around a little counter here. Get Roberson up inside. But those splits are something to contend with an offense that hits so quickly.
2nd and 5 for Air Force. They're doing very well on first down, though, this afternoon. Krause is wide out to the bottom. Here's Dallas. Dallas on the run at the 20. Down to the 17-yard line. Going to be a gain of about 8 on the play for D. Dallas.
It tells you what you have to do when you play a wishbone team, particularly one that executes this way. You've got to be very disciplined as you look at how Dallas sees the defense. Everybody's got a responsibility. Everybody's got to stay at home. And as they watch the pitch man, you see number 27 coming up to make the play on that streeter. They can't forget about Dallas. His quickness is very, very impressive, and he ducks inside, and already he's got 39 yards.
George Streeter in on the tackle for Notre Dame, and we've got rain, and it just opened up here just a moment ago at Notre Dame. 1st and 10. Uh-oh, broken play. Dallas will have to eat it at the 20-yard line. He went out to ride someone's belly and then found no one there to get it.
And those are the kind of mistakes you can't afford to make. And twice, when they were in close, they've had penalties against them to stop their offense. This time, it's just a busted play, and he does well to try and get back to the line of scrimmage. Actually, he takes a 2-yard loss.
The rain continues to fall. It's going to be back to the 20-yard line. 2nd down and 12. As you look at Chris Zorich, who's performed admirably out of Chicago, sophomore, 6'1", 260. Rain really falling now. Dowis to the corner. Pumps once, now fires to the end zone, just threw it away, intended for Sen, but Light had excellent cover.
Absolutely. Light was up on him and covered him well, and when he saw that, Dowis, he was looking at only one receiver. He threw the ball away.
2nd down, there's the rain, and you see the crowd of 59,000 plus scurrying for the umbrellas or anything that they can bring. They brought it today because we had rain throughout the afternoon. It rained here all day yesterday. And after they pulled the tarp from the field, there were 2 surprise showers this morning. Air Force getting set for another 3rd down conversion as Greg Cochran comes into the ball game. He'll go to the top side of your screen as we tighten up on D. Dowis. 9th play of the drive, 3rd and 12. In motion, Booker. Dowis, straight drop back, over the middle. Incomplete, intended for Sen or Cochran. Both were in the vicinity.
Looking to throw back. He sprinted to his left, threw back to the single receiver. Here he is, a sprint left. He'll come up, pull up, and he'll be looking back to the left side for number 83, Sen, who's well covered in the end zone by Francisco, number 32, and also number 27, George Streeter. Good job by the secondary of Notre Dame. They toughen up here, and again, they're going to force the Air Force to try and get 3 points.
And Steve Yarborough made a 22-yarder already. If he makes this one from 37, it'll be his longest of the season. Looks like it was blocked as it went up. It is good. Looks like it went off somebody's helmet and up in. It took a jump as soon as it left his foot.
It looked like one of their rockets as it was launched. It kept getting higher and higher. It just fell in there.
11:59 left to go in the first half. 2 Steve Yarborough field goals has Air Force trailing by a point. Let's see that kick again. Looked like it took off as soon as it hit his foot.
There it is. He put it down, and there's nobody hitting the ball. But watch this thing. It just about
just clears the bar, but it's good by Steve Yarborough, who will kick off here for the Air Force Academy, and it pulls the Falcons to within a point. 11:59 left to go. He's hit them from 22 and 37. That's his longest of the year, by the way, and Ricky Waters will await this kickoff. In the rain still, but it's let up a bit at South Bend. Waters at the 2. Comes out to the 20. Still on his feet, brought down by Mario Mathis, it appears, at the 27-yard line. So it'll be a return of 25 yards, and that's when Notre Dame will start 1st and 10. The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. This broadcast is a copyright presentation. Any use of this broadcast without the express permission of the University of Notre Dame is prohibited. Steve Martin here along with Bob Cacciola as you look at the Notre Dame offense huddled around Tony Rice as he comes out at his own 27-yard line. His team leading Air Force by a point, 7-6. Mark Green behind him. He gets the toss in the backfield. And out there to try to make the stop is Pope, but bringing him down eventually is going to be Mark Lyons after a nice gain on the play after the 33-yard line. It'll be a pickup of 6.
Just a little swing pass right here as he drops back. His tailback came from the I formation. He swings the ball out to him. It's a one-on-one situation when Andy Toth, 26. He fakes him out, and he gets up the field and makes the yardage. That's the athletic ability of Mark Green. Just an outstanding player, the senior.
2nd down and 4. Brooks is in the backfield as the I-back. Johnson is the fullback. Johnson gets the call. Johnson has the 1st down and more out over the 40-yard line. Brought down by Brian Hill on the tackle. Nice game.
And you talk about Anthony Johnson. He's got the size. He's a powerful runner. And he's got great scoring ability. But watch him run up in there. Look at those legs churning. He's working on those 2 linebackers. Takes 5 guys to bring him down. You look up, he's averaging. He's had 137 yards coming in this game on 38 carries and 2 touchdowns.
9 yards on that carry. 1st and 10 for Notre Dame. Blitz is on. And and it is effective as it stuffs Mark Green in the backfield. We've got a whistle and a flag thrown into it as well. Air Force Mike Juries is the blitzing back, and also Brian Hill, and we've got a face mask against Air Force.
They just take a chance here as you see the linebacker blitz in. The timing is perfect. They timed it well. The big hit right there by Juries, but also a face mask which will nullify that loss.
I've got a face mask on the defense, 5 yards. It will remain first down.
So the 5-yard face mask penalty invoked for the second time this afternoon.
They're not happy on that Air Force sideline with that call. Not at all. That was a big play for them. They would have had him 2nd and long. Now it's 1st and 5.
Ishmael goes out split wide to the top side with Ricky Waters on 1st and 5. Tony Rice looking over the Air Force defense. On the option, Rice, and he is discovered by Brian Hill and thrown for a loss to the 41-yard line.
That time the automatic, it looked like he called the play right on the line of scrimmage. He's over the ball for a while. It looks like the Air Force thought, watch 46 Hill come right up in his face and make the play, never give him a chance to either keep it or pitch it. Threw him for a loss. Big play by the Air Force defense that is playing with considerable enthusiasm right now. There's Brian Hill under the Air Force in tackles.
101, 33 solo, 2 for a loss. Make that the 3rd thus far this season for Brian Hill. 2nd and 7. Play fake by Rice, has time, looking over the middle to Waters, complete with a great catch at the 40. Brought down at the 35-yard line.
Waters went right up in the face of number 18, Mario Mathis, who is one of the better players in that secondary. Took the ball, beautifully thrown pass here off a play action by Tony Rice as he looks for Waters inside. Watch this, he goes up and gets the ball right there and then breaks the tackle of 18. Mathis, as you look at ground level, the same action. Good job by Tony Rice of finding his receiver.
What a catch by Waters. 24 yards upfield. It's a 1st down for the Irish at the Air Force 35. Draw play to Green. Green gets ahead, hard yards to the 31-yard line. It'll be a pickup of 4 yards for Mark Green.
Mark Green came into this ball game with 373 yards, rushing and 3 TDs. He caught the ball 4 times for 65 yards. He's a 3-year starter. He's a runner. He's a receiver. He also will block for you. He's just an outstanding football player.
He's 119 yards to be the 11th all-time leading rusher in Notre Dame history. Tony Rice now looking at 2nd and 7 at the Air Force 31. On the option, Rice to the corner. Rice holds on. Gets ahead to about the 29-yard line, and he's brought down by Toad.
That was a good job that time by the Air Force. They came up and really played the option well. They strung it out, and they gave everybody a chance to get a piece of it. It's a little counter action as he fakes in there to Mark Green, to his fullback, Johnson. As he comes to keep the ball, he gets a hit right there. He breaks that tackle of the linebacker Hill, but gives Andy Toth, the cornerback, a chance to come up and make the play. And the Air Force has forced Notre Dame into a 3rd and 5.
2 out of 3 in pass attempts thus far this afternoon as he looks at 3rd and 5. Notre Dame up by 1. There's the pass. It is complete. Out there to his tight end, Derek Brown, the freshman. Gets over the 20-yard line down to the 19. It's a gain on the play of 11 yards, and it's good for a Notre Dame 1st down.
That's a good safe call, and he hit the big freshman tight end, Derek Brown, who's 6'6", 240. This guy, one of the most highly recruited players in all of the country last year out of Merritt Island, Florida. Number 86, Brown, catches the football, destroys a few people along the way to get the 1st down.
Boy, Gladney got a shot to the neck that time. It's going to be 1st down at the 19-yard line. Notre Dame in Air Force territory. Rice carrying at the 15 and jets ahead to about the 13. Finally brought down there by Joe Powell, among other people. But we're seeing a lot of tackles by linebackers and defensive backs for Air Force.
When you can run a 4.48 40 like Tony Rice, you can run that option and you can tuck it up inside and go with the best of them. And he showed it right there as he brought that ball inside the 15-yard line. This is where you can't have any turnovers. You've got to put that ball in the end zone. Notre Dame did it already in the 1st quarter. They're driving again.
2nd down at about 5. Notre Dame 7, Air Force 6. And off to Johnson, the fullback. He's going straight ahead. He's got the first down, and he'll carry Notre Dame down to the 6-yard line.
That time he ran behind his left guard, Timmy Ryan, the sophomore, was a former linebacker and center. Watch number 652, the left guard, the block he makes, turns the tackle out. 55, the center, Mike Helt, the two of those gave Johnson a chance to get up inside and get another first down.
First and goal at the 7-yard line. Clock moving, 6:46 left to go in the first half of play. The rain continues to fall at South Bend. Both ends in tight. Johnson gets the call again. He's inside the 5. Somebody's got him by the jersey, wrestling him down at the 4-yard line.
You know, the offensive line of Notre Dame is a real story this year. They came into play with about as much experience, as little experience as they've ever had. When you total everybody, they had 4 minutes of time last year playing for them. But when you look across at Heck and Ryan, now Helt at center, Joe Allen and Grunhard at the guards, and of course Dean Brown, you see the development, a young offensive football team, 5 new starters, and that's been the big turnaround for this club this fall.
Second and goal from the 4. Johnson and Green, the setbacks out of the eye for Tony Rice. Rice following his fullback. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Big block on that play by the right tackle, Dean Brown, number 71, out of Canton, Ohio. Watch number 76 block in there. That's McGuire. And then number 71, who puts it in the end zone. Tony Rice follows those reclinement of his into the end zone for a score, and Notre Dame's up.
And his fullback, Anthony Johnson, throwing a block for him as well as Reggie Hose steps off the yardage for the point after. Notre Dame up 13-6, and Hose' kick will make it 14-6. Not much wind at that end of the field. There's the kick out of the hole to Pete Graham. It is up, and it is good. So Reggie Hose tacks the point after on to the Tony Rice touchdown of 4 yards. Let's look at it again. Rice, as you see, headed for the end zone, and it is Notre Dame 14-6 over the Air Force. We'll be back after this from your local station.
Watch the right side here is McGuire, the center, the guard Grunhard, number 75, and Brown, the tackle, and the fullback, 22, Anthony Johnson, leads Tony Rice into the end zone for the score. Beautifully executed on the right side. Big play by the offensive line and the fullback.
Score coming at the 5:55 mark in the first half. There you see the scoring drive, an exhausting drive, and again, a big 5.5, 6-minute scoring drive of 11 plays, 73 yards. Notre Dame's philosophy is simple. Keep the Air Force offense off the field by exhausting the clock with long drives of 11 and 12 yards. Billy Hackett's kick is taken short. Maybe. Now it's taken. Getting out there is going to be number 29, Rodney Lewis, who picks it up and brings Air Force out into excellent operating position at the 39-yard line.
The Air Force has moved the football with their wishbone from their own 30 to the Notre Dame 30, but they bog down with penalties and miscues when they get around the 30-yard line, 25-yard line. They've got to get themselves a score here. They've got to stay close because Notre Dame's philosophy, as you mentioned just a minute ago, is to hold that football. And there you've seen it. First half, Notre Dame really has dominated play against all opponents.
Right now they lead 14-6. Air Force has started drives in their own 41, their own 38, and their own 39 in this instance, their first and 10. But a wishbone. D. Dallas doesn't like what he sees out of the defense and wants to talk things over. He calls timeout. First timeout exhausted by Air Force as Dallas, the junior from Royster, Georgia, heads to the sidelines to talk with Fisher DeBerry. Our score, 5:49 left to go in the second quarter. Notre Dame 14, Air Force 6. As you look at Fisher DeBerry of the Air Force Academy in his 5th season there, his team right now trailing Notre Dame by a score of 14-6. Stay with us at halftime. We'll have the Rolling Rock Review. A look at last weekend's action in Great American Independent Football. There was some great action. Penn State, Syracuse, of course, Notre Dame, Miami. We'll talk about it at halftime, so stay with us. A whole lot more for you, too.
And looking at Fisher DeBerry in his 5 years as head coach, he's got a winning percentage of over 700. He's really done a job with his service academy, and it's really been this offense, the way they run it. Look at the splits on the right side of that line right now.
First and 10, Air Force, their own 39. Here's the pitch. It's shotgun to Roberson. Roberson turns the corner, stays on his feet, and is brought down finally by Stonebreaker, who tripped him up at the 47-yard line.
They really spread the field. They stretched that Notre Dame defense, and as they came on the corner that time, Dowis and his experience. Watch him as he comes down here. As he comes down, he sees number 30 appear right away, so he kicks the ball out to Roberson and gives him a chance to find the seam and cut up inside. And he is quick. Anthony Roberson, explosive. He's the guy they rally around, and he comes right from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Homegrown, 3 carries, 20 yards, 9 on that carry. 2nd and 1, 3 down for Dowis. Dowis looking long, has a man who's double covered. He wanted Cochran on the play downfield, but Southall and Light would have none of it.
And Smagala, the cornerback, was running with him step for step, and there's a great story behind Stan Smagala. He's only a junior. As we watch here, watch this. It's throwback action. He's looking for Cochran to come from the left side and run a post pattern right up the middle. He's covered inside by Southall, the free safety, and outside by Smagala. Lou Holtz didn't want to recruit Smagala 3 years ago. He's only a junior because he was so small, 168 pounds. But he felt obligated to him at the time because of the past administration here coaching him, and he gave him a scholarship, and he's never regretted it since. And he's been a great tackler for him.
Never played a down of defense in high school either. He was a tailback. Here is Roberson on the pitch, and he is going nowhere, and the man you just talked about, Stan Smagala, makes a stop.
From 168 pounds, he's now 186 pounds, and he's a tough one. A great open field tackler, the junior from Burbank, Illinois. Watch the play here. Beautifully done inside. They stop the quarterback as they kick the ball outside. Stan Smagala makes the hit. Great camera work.
Sideline corner, or short corner, if you will. The other sideline, of course, the other designation is the field corner, and that belongs to Carroll and County Southall. Chris Blasey coming on to punt for the first time this afternoon. There's the kick. Waters, who's returned 2 for touchdowns on punts, gets it. Waters free with a wall at the 40. At midfield. And knocked out of bounds at the Air Force 40-yard line. What a return by Ricky Waters. Let's see it again.
This is a low kick. He gets it right away. There's pretty good coverage downfield, but watch the explosiveness of Ricky Waters. He's got great speed, and he is big. He's 6'2", 201 pounds, and watch him break tackles, stop on a dime, make the cut in the open field. Great return, great field position for the Notre Dame offense.
1st and 10. Notre Dame in Air Force territory at the 47-yard line. 4:11 left to go in the first half, and a new quarterback in the ballgame now for Notre Dame. And it is going to be Kent Graham. He pitches to Tony Brooks. Brooks over the 40. Brooks open. In a foot race and gets blocked down by Hecker. Inside the 20 at the 19-yard line. It's a trot of nearly 30 yards.
They just keep coming at you with so much talent here, and this time, here's the toss back to number 40, the sophomore Brooks. Follows his blockers on the left side, and it makes the cut. Breaking tackles there. It just explodes here. And Hecker coming from the far side. The strong safety makes the hit, or else it's another score for Notre Dame.
And we see Kent Graham into the ball game. 27 yards on the gain that time. Graham hands off to Green. Green off right guard, gets some yards down to the 15-yard line. It'll be a pickup of about 4.
Kent Graham is a sophomore. We saw him last year against Boston College. He's a pro-style quarterback. He drops back and throws the ball very well. We thought we might see him today because they wanted to throw the ball some early and get ahead of this Air Force team, so they didn't have the football for their wishbone offense. But Graham came in earlier today. He's out of Wheaton, Illinois. He's big. 6'5", 228 pounds.
Pro-style quarterback. 2nd down and 5 now for Notre Dame. And off Brooks. Brooks straight ahead, runs into people. That is Hecker, who gets him first and drags him down at the 13-yard line.
Notre Dame can really bring the backs at you. Brooks at 6'2", 218 pounds. Mark Green, 6 foot, 184. Here it is, just handing the ball deep to him. He gets hit on the line of scrimmage. It doesn't look pretty right now, but look at him running all the time. He's got speed, he's got quickness, and he's powerful.
7 carries, 53 yards for Tony Brooks. Green is into the ball game now at the tailback spot. 3rd down for Notre Dame and 4. They lead Air Force 14-6. Johnson, the fullback, gets the belly play and is on his feet and into the end zone. Touchdown Notre Dame. An incredible play by Johnson. Johnson.
They describe him as being powerful. And look at this running. Number 22, Anthony Johnson, out of South Bend, Indiana. Look at this. He just breaks through the tackle of Brian Hill, the linebacker, then breaks the tackle of Joe Powell, number 58. Just carries himself. Just one great individual effort. We're getting great camera shots here. Look at this from ground level. Look at the balance he has, the surge.
Powell actually helped him by trying to twist him around. He regains his feet. He was almost down. Cole getting set to kick. 2:41 left to go in the first half. It's a low snap. Graham will come out of it and try to run it in. This is Pete Graham, and he'll be thrown at the 7-yard line. And it will be no good as far as the conversion, 1, 2, or otherwise. So Notre Dame suffers that play, but Johnson gets the touchdown.
Here's the snap as we see it. It's a low snap as it comes down to Pete Graham, the holder. He just can't handle it. Hits the ground first. Hodges comes by. And he just never has a chance with this as the Air Force is in good position and hold it to a 20-6 score.
Well, Graham put it there in case he wanted it, but he didn't want it. And it is Notre Dame leading Air Force 20-6. Watch this play. Snap is bad, but Pete Graham recovers. Watch it. Holt gives up on the kick. Pete will set it up. He's all dressed up and ready to go, but nobody's there.
And he just turned to him and said, Pete, you're on your own, kid. There he goes, and he is on his own. But it's kind of wet now. It's raining. It's drizzling enough, and that ball may be getting wet on people.
There's the scoring drive as Hackett kicks off, and Roberson takes it at the 13. Roberson hits the wedge nicely. Breaks out in open territory. He could go all the way. One man to beat. He's knocked out of bounds at about the 26-yard line.
Lou Holtz isn't happy about this one. You can see him on the sideline. Great return. Roberson took the ball, let it late. It's a short kick. He found a quick seam. Watch this. That's a short kick. He picks it up at about his own 15-yard line, gets a lot of blocks up front, and breaks to the sideline. And the senior out of Colorado Springs gets his team down in good field position with 2:30 on the clock.
Got to cite the effort by Juan Francisco to come all the way across the field after missing once to come up and make the play. Save the touchdown. 26-yard line, the line of scrimmage now for Air Force in Notre Dame territory. Here's Andy Smith, the fullback, straight ahead. He goes down to about the 20-yard line, nearly a gain of 6.
And Smith gets into that hole real quick. He is quick. He comes in with almost a 9-yard average, and watch him running off the block of the left guard, Kevin Bell. They split the line again. Frank Stams made the tackle, the defensive end, but not before Smith gained 6 yards.
2nd down and 4 coming up now for Air Force at the Notre Dame 21. Dallas gets a handoff to Greg Johnson. Johnson close to the first down near the 16-yard line. Goes straight ahead for about 5 yards.
Got to be conscious of the clock now. A little under 2 minutes to go. They still have 2 timeouts remaining, the Air Force. And the clock will stop here as they take a measure.
Fisher DeBerry looking on. 4 years at the Air Force Academy, very successful, 3 bowl bids. And he's got them rolling this year, 5-2.
He really believes in this offense. He knows it as well as anybody, and they run it to perfection.
All of the service academies with the wishbone offense, and there you see what they need for the 3rd down. There's Roberson on the sideline, who put Air Force in this advantageous position with the 60-yard kickoff return. 1:48 left in the first half. Big 3rd down here for Air Force. They need inches for a first. Inside the Notre Dame 20-yard line. Dallas gives Bill, going to take it himself. He's got the first down at the 12, and that'll stop the clock when they mark the ball.
Coming into this game, Lou Holtz said that D. Dowis is the best option quarterback out of the wishbone he's ever seen. You see why here. Look at the fake here. Watch how quick he is. He takes that ball away. You can't even find it. And now he turns up the field. He is magic running this offense. There's no other way to look at it.
He makes no mistakes on a rainy day in South Bend. And an offense that calls for a lot of ball handling. 1st and 10 at the Notre Dame 12. There's the handoff to Smith. Smith trotting at the 5, down to the 3-yard line.
See, they spread the defense. They split the line. You forget about the fullback. You're thinking about Dowitz and maybe the pitch man coming. And watch him slip. Look at the splits on the left side of that line. And he breaks it outside with the fullback. And you look up, and he's inside the 5-yard line. Great execution here as Andy Smith, 35, carries the football, adjusts his running, and gets inside the 5-yard line.
9-yard gain for Smith. They can get a first down inside the 3. Air Force. Dallas changing up and loses his mouthpiece. Handles it to Smith. Touchdown, Air Force.
Boy, is he cool. Under pressure, he loses his mouthpiece. He didn't call timeout. The clock is ticking away, and he hands it to the fullback. The right call, and the Air Force is in the end zone. Watch this.
Spits it right out.
That's it, right there. He picks it up. He's only 4 yards away.
And Mike Stonebreaker comes up and
looking at him, and watch this play. Just gives it to Smith. Great block on the right side by Latke, the right guard, and Jeff Johnson.
Looked like Stonebreaker was going to come in and help him and pick it up. Here's a kick by Yarborough on the point after. It is good. And Air Force making it exciting with 44 seconds left to go in the first half of play. They put one on the board quickly to trail by 7.
And it's really been the special teams. You look back in this first half on kickoff returns, the Air Force has got excellent field position. Here it is again as we look at quarterback D. Dowis drop the mouthpiece, pick it up, put it back in, and come away with 6 points. As Andy Smith, he was the key guy on the drive this time. They found their fullback, utilizing their line splits, and they've got a score, and they're back in this ball game.
The worst field position they've had this afternoon to start a drive was their own 38-yard line. Of course, with Roberson's kickoff return of 60 yards to get them down to the 26-yard line, that put them in excellent position to knock it in, and they have. And they trail Notre Dame now by only 7, and the rain starts to come down a little bit harder at South Bend. We anticipated a sunny day. You can see periods of sun poking through the clouds, but Lou Holtz stalks the sidelines. He had hoped that his club would be a little more comfortable in the situation. Next week, of course, he'll face another wishbone team. So he'll get ample opportunity to look at them as Navy and Notre Dame go at it at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore.
That is one of the key points, preparing for the wishbone in 1 week to get yourself completely turned around. Coming in last week, they faced Miami, who was a passing team. This week, it's the running of the Air Force.
Ishmael is the man who touches the ball and brings it out to the 35-yard line after the short kick by Steve Yarborough, rather. As we get set for Notre Dame to take the football field with 40 seconds left to go. 5 plays, only took them 1 minute and 57 to execute, but they were only 26 yards out thanks to the long run by Roberson. And that's how Air Force got on the board, trailing by 7. Tony Rice returns to the Notre Dame huddle, and we have an injured player. The near sideline headed out. That is going to be Scott Kowalkowski, backup defensive end playing on the special teams. He comes to the sidelines. Notre Dame's had a lot of injuries thus far this season. Their running backs have been injured. Both of their fullbacks have spent time out, Johnson and Braxton Banks. And there you see Kowalkowski in some pain as he heads to the sideline. First down for Tony Rice. Average starting position. Notre Dame their own 32. Air Force their own 48. Rolling to throw is Rice. Rice on the run. Throws complete to Ishmael, but they say he stepped out of bounds.
Referee, the official rather, was right there to make the call. Sprint out by Rice looking for Ishmael, the freshman receiver out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Rolling left here, looked for number 25 on the sideline. A very well thrown pass. Good effort by Tony Rice. Let's watch his feet. Nope.
Either one.
His right foot looks like it just came down before he could keep his left one in, and that's what the official called. So it's second down and 10.
Raheem Ishmael, his brother, plays for Syracuse as a wide receiver. Second down and 10. Rice is back to throw again as you see the clock. It is complete. Out in the flats to Mark Green. Green wrestled down at the 32-yard line. Total gain on the play of about 3 yards.
James Hecker came up from his strong safety position, did a good job of keeping Green in bounds, not permitting him to get out and stop the clock as Notre Dame is trying to get upfield close enough maybe to grab a couple of points before the half ends, but the clock is working against them.
9 seconds left in the first half, and Notre Dame is going to call time with 9 seconds. Lou Holtz says, well, we'll take one play and see what happens. As Tony Rice comes over to Lou Holt's sideline to talk things over. He wanted a timeout. Let's see if the official saw it. Yep, the coaches will want to. Rice was trying to get the signal from the sideline, as you say. He points to the clock. He said, "What do you want to do? You want me to call time? We will." Probably lost about 10 seconds trying to call that play. I think Lou Holtz would have been content to see the first half end right there.
Well, let's see what he comes up with now. He's got 9 seconds on the clock, sitting on his own 35-yard line.
You've got rain, so you're in a situation where you have to throw the football to get anything, to make it worth it. The thinking probably along the sideline is maybe it's not worth it to risk a turnover in this situation and just go out in the first half. Tony Rice wanted a shot.
Or put the ball up deep if you can, come away with a penalty or something that might give you a last shot.
So 9 seconds remain. Tony Rice's report card. 44 yards in 6 attempts. 4 have been caught. He's got Ishmael wide to the top. That slot man you see is Ricky Waters. Play action, looking over the middle for his tight end Brown. It is incomplete. Hit him in the worst spot possible, right on the hands. It stops the clock with 3 seconds left.
They would just trying to get it upfield to get themselves in position to give Ho a chance to get 3 more points before the half. As you watch the big tight end, the rookie Derek Brown, right in the middle that time. Just the ball was a little bit low for him. He should have handled it, and he didn't. 4th down coming up. And with 3 seconds left to go, Tony Brooks returns to the huddle for Notre Dame. And we've got a timeout taken by Air Force. They want to talk things over. They feel they're going to get the ball back here with 3 seconds left. If it's an incompleted pass, they might have 1 second left and a chance to spank one in. So they're going to take the opportunity to talk things over. And Lou Holtz is saying, "I told you I didn't want a timeout." They've got their entire defensive backfield and linebackers over there talking to their defense to make sure they've got the right coverage here.
So Air Force will take advantage of having just 3 seconds on the clock.
But Fisher DeBerry has to be happy about this first half. Granted, he didn't come away with as many points as he'd hoped. He had to settle for a couple of field goals, but he's within a touchdown of Notre Dame, and he knows anything can happen, especially with his offense. The big thing is that his defense has to hold up better in the second half.
And his defense has to stay off the field more than they have been. Notre Dame kept them on the field for 2 exhaustive drives of 12 and 11 plays, both resulting in touchdowns. But Fisher DeBerry can take heart in the fact that his offense is executing fairly well, with the exception of a couple penalties and miscues inside the 20. 4th and 4 for Notre Dame. I got a feeling they'll just sit on it right here. This is Tony Rice. He's got a slot man to the right. They're going to try for it. Rice going to the air, looking over the middle. It is incomplete, and the first half ends. Time runs out. So Air Force heads to the locker room. They spend that time hoping to get the ball back, but did not do it. Fisher DeBerry will talk to the officials and discuss possibly the timing situation here at halftime. But so far, he's got to be happy with what he's seen of the Falcons thus far this afternoon, especially on offense.
Especially on offense, and especially knowing that he's within reach. That's all that matters. They knew they would have a tough time stopping the Irish. They just wanted to be sure they could move the ball, and they've got confidence in doing that.
So the teams head into the locker room, and we've got halftime coming up. Lots of things coming up for you, so stay with us. It's Notre Dame 20 and Air Force 13. There you see our halftime score at South Bend, Indiana. It is Notre Dame leading Air Force 20-13. An interesting first half of play that has seen Air Force get on the board first with a quick field goal. Then Notre Dame struck back with a touchdown. Another field goal by Air Force. 2 TDs by Notre Dame to give them a 20-6 lead at one point. And then the Air Force coming back with a long drive and spanking one in at the end zone to make it 20-13. And that's where we stand here at halftime. Well, now it's time to review once again our great American champion. And today's great American champion is a guy who's been outstanding in the Notre Dame backfield. He's 15th in the all-time career rushing mark at Notre Dame. Let's take a moment and meet Mark Green, running back for the Fighting Irish. Genesee Cream Ale presents Great American Champions. The 6-0 second-ranked Fighting Irish have an impressive senior starting his 3rd year as tailback this year, Mark Green, an extremely capable ball carrier who seemed to get better each week last season. Green had his career-high rushing day against Boston College, where he showed his durability by carrying the ball 8 straight times in one series. He led the Irish with 861 yards rushing in '87 and scored 6 touchdowns. Green's numbers are impressive, but just as important is Green's upbeat personality and leadership.
When you talk about somebody who's totally committed to being as good as he can possibly be, once again, the first guy that comes to your mind is Mark Green. And when you talk about somebody who genuinely cares about other people, once again, Mark Green comes to your mind. So he's just a class individual. That's one of the reasons he was elected one of our tri-captains here at Notre Dame.
As a captain, Mark strives to keep the same level-headed and positive approach to football as before.
I'm not going to change anything. You know, I like to keep everything the same, just lead by example and do the things that I've done in the past. You know, just do my job and have the younger guys follow me and do the things that I do.
Against Michigan State, Green enjoyed one of his top personal performances, earning ABC's Chevrolet Most Valuable Player Award with his 125 yards, the 5th 100-yard day of his career. Although there was talk of Mark moving to flanker to replace Heisman Trophy winner Tim Brown, Coach Holtz kept Green in the backfield, and he's glad he did.
We have Mark Green at running back because we think that the leadership, the consistency, the way he protects the football, his durability, his toughness, and just the type of back he is. I know what to expect every time the ball snaps from Mark Green, and I know what's going to happen when he gets in the huddle. And we just sort of like him in a little bit closer to the action. He's an excellent blocker. He's a good team man. And when you have a young offensive line, we thought it was important that we get as much leadership as we could, as close to the ball as we could.
Mark Green is a proven receiver who stands 15th on the Irish's career rushing table and 2nd on the team right now in total offense. When asked if the captain leads his team by words or example, the answer was obvious.
By example. Definitely by example.
They nearly moved Mark Green to flanker. They're glad they didn't. So far today, 7 carries, 31 yards. He has a touchdown to show for his effort. The man wants to be in broadcasting. Mark Green, our great American champion. We'll take a look at our scoreboard and more as you see Notre Dame leading the Air Force Academy by a score of 20-13. Back after this word from your local stations. We're at halftime, South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame Stadium. There's our score. Notre Dame leading Air Force by a score of 20-13. A fast-moving first half, as we expected. Both teams keeping the ball on the ground. It's been a great season of great American independent football thus far, as we've been showcasing the teams in the East. And Bob, what a year to showcase the Eastern teams. Syracuse was the beast of the East last year. We've got several pretenders to the crown there this year.
Really no real pretenders, but after this many weeks in the season, we know that West Virginia is for real. Syracuse is coming on strong again, and each week you got to be impressed by them, and the feeling is by the end of the year they'll be just as strong as they were last year. And of course, Rutgers. Rutgers has appeared now as a legitimate football team that can play with anybody in the East, so it's really exciting for all of us.
Great football in the East means great highlights for us, and last week was no different as we take a look at what happened to some of our teams in the eastern part of the country, plus Notre Dame. Some big games around the country. Let's take a look at the week in review with great American independent football.
Rolling Rock Beer presents the Rolling Rock Review, a look at last week's action in great American independent football.
Let's take you to Beaver Stadium in Penn State. Syracuse taking on the Nittany Lions, and what a day for Todd Philcox.
He's just been phenomenal. Here he throws. He threw for 268 yards. Here he throws for a TD to Deval Glover in the end zone, and that's a big score for the Syracuse Orangemen immediately. And here he comes right back to hit Rob Moore for a 2-point conversion.
Boy, Rob Moore's quite a receiver. Look at the effort put out here by Robert Drummond, the outstanding running back. He'll catch a pass, and then he's going for the end zone.
Watch the balance here, as he's done it all year as a running back here off the pass. He puts that hand down, keeps his balance, gets into the end zone, and Syracuse dominated Penn State 24-10.
Orangemen now 5-1. Temple and Pitt going at it at Pittsburgh. Big day for the Pitt offense, 615 yards. Look at this man, Vernon Kirk, the tight end. He scored 2 touchdowns on the day.
Brought him back from the option and threw the ball back, but Kirvin Richards, the youngster who's played a lot with the injuries to their tailback situation, came back, and of course Darnell Dickerson comes back here with a long pass to senior Billy Osborne.
5 passes, 121 yards for Osborne. Dickerson had a pretty good day, throwing for 287 yards. Here you'll see him run for 45 yards. Ends a 2-year drought with Temple as Pitt wins 42-7.
They get some of their injured players back, and they're going to get stronger as each week goes on.
They could be an angry football team. Army and Lafayette. The Cadets had an outstanding day. Their tailback, Mike Mayweather, he can do it all. 3rd 100-yard game of the year against the Leopards. 156 yards on this day.
Against a good Lafayette team, as we see Mike Mayweather score here. but it was also their fullback, Ben Barnett. They forget about him, much like you forget about the fullback for Air Force. But Army was strong. They came back to beat Lafayette 24-17.
They're 5-1, and this is what happened at this very field last Saturday. Notre Dame, Tony Rice goes up early to hit his fullback, Braxton Banks, for a touchdown. That made it 14-7 Notre Dame.
And the next possession here, you see Frank Tams, the defensive end, tip the ball to his safety man, Pat Terrell.
And Terrell will go 60 yards for a touchdown. That makes it 21-7 Notre Dame. First interception return for a touchdown. And the faithful at South Bend can see it. But Miami's a great football team. They came back. This second touchdown to Cleveland. Gary ties it at 21-all. Tony Rice gets it back, going again. He gets hands off to Pat Eilers, a converted defensive back, putting the Irish back on top 28-21.
Miami scores, of course, to come back with 45 seconds to go. But here's the play, the two-point conversion, looking to win this football game. And once again, Terrell, the free safety, is there to make the clutch play in the end zone, and Notre Dame wins it 31-30. Big victory for the Fighting Irish.
Big win. Some of the other action last week, the game we covered in Boston, Rutgers beating Boston College. There's another team that has arrived.
Rutgers dominating play on the ground last week against Boston College, winning 17-6. Navy and West Virginia did not play. They were off.
And today's games around Great American Independent Football, as we look at them around the league, it is Boston College at West Virginia. That's a great one at Morgantown.
That's a tough one for the Boston College Eagles to go down there and play West Virginia. Army, of course, travels to Giant Stadium to play Rutgers, and Navy goes against Pittsburgh.
Syracuse down south at East Carolina, and Temple, of course, is at Cal Berkeley. We are at halftime at Notre Dame Stadium. It is Notre Dame leading Air Force by a score of 20-13. More from halftime at South Bend in just a moment, so stay with us. Welcome back to South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame Stadium, and the Fighting Irish leading the Falcons of the Air Force Academy by a score of 20-13. Steve Martin here along with Bob Cassiola. It's been a great first half of action. Air Force marched down the field the first time that they had the football and scored on a field goal. The fact that they had to settle a field goal kind of underscores some of their problems so far in the first half.
I think so. You look at Notre Dame, first of all, they've run the ball very effectively. They've controlled it on the ground, and when they really went after the Air Force, they did it and did it very effectively. But the key so far has been that the Air Force has done a good job on the special teams, particularly the kickoffs. They've gotten good field position out of it. They've come back with 2 field goals and a touchdown, and that has kept them in the ball game. That's where Notre Dame has to shore things up. But overall, I think it's a good, tough ball game, and when you're only trailing by 7 and running the option that Air Force does, I think you got to be happy if you're Fisher to bury.
That's the key. With a wishbone offense, you can't afford to get too far behind. It's not a great catch-up offense.
No way. He doesn't want to put the ball up. On the other side, Notre Dame has to come out. They're going to get the kickoff here, and they've got to try and dominate play with their running attack.
Let's take a look at the first half stats and see what they show us. I think what you'll see is that they show us a pretty even football game as far as rushing yards and total offense.
You can't get it much closer. A few more passing yards for Notre Dame. That's not surprising. But time of possession, this is dead even, and it's mainly because of that wishbone attack of the Air Force.
Air Force has not turned the ball over that much, just 1 turnover. Notre Dame yet to experience 1, but the penalties, key. Not much yardage on penalties, but to put them in 1st and 15, 2nd and 15, and 2 of those key penalties came inside the 20.
You're right. You can't afford to have that.
Let's take a look at some highlights so far here in the first half as we see Air Force and Notre Dame going at it. This is the first touchdown of the game by Notre Dame going in the other direction. Mark Green.
Great effort by Mark Green. Great job of blocking up front on the right side, but there's the athletic ability of an outstanding tailback as he follows his blockers in. And, of course, Tony Rice, who really is an outstanding runner. Here he fakes to his fullback and just follows him up behind his right guard and right tackle and finds that end zone. And that's the power of this running attack that has been effective for him all year.
That made it 14-6, and it put it in favor of Notre Dame at that point in time. Watch this touchdown by Anthony Johnson, the fullback. He's almost down right there, but Joe Powell, in an attempt to try to wrestle him down, held his balance, and Johnson says, "Thank you very much," and goes into the end zone. And that made it 20-6. And watch this. D. Dowis, is he cool? Watch this play. He'll drop his mouthpiece, but come right back.
And he's sitting inside the 5-yard line. People are staring at him. Stonebreaker, the linebacker's right in his face talking, and he comes back, gives it to his fullback, and he's in the end zone for a score. And that was a key one just before the half to bring the Air Force back to 28-13.
Andy Smith with a 3-yard run right there, and that's where we stand at halftime. It is Notre Dame 20, Air Force 13. We'll be back after this word from your local station. welcome back to Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana. We're at halftime, and our score shows Notre Dame leading the Air Force Academy by a score of 20-13. 59,000 fans looking on. Our Apple Computer Student Athlete of the Week, well, he's an outstanding one. Reggie Hull, out of the University of Notre Dame. He's a pre-med major, a junior, walk-on from Kaneohe, Hawaii, a 3.77 grade point average. 22 out of 24 point-after-touchdown attempts have been successful thus far by this young man, who's kind of captured everybody's imagination. He's 8 out of 10 in the field goal category. His longest has been 38 yards. He's got 2 point-after-touchdown attempts thus far this afternoon, and his team right now leading the Air Force by a score of 20-13. As you see the Air Force Academy lined up there with their band at halftime. Let's take a look at the scoring summary thus far. Air Force got on the board first. Yarborough, a 22-yard field goal at the 6:29 mark, but Notre Dame came back with an exhausting drive that took them 5.5 minutes, and it was Mark Green going in from 7 yards out. 7-3 Notre Dame. Air Force came right back on the next possession. Yarborough, a 37-yard field goal, his longest of the season, to cut the margin to 1. Then 2 big drives by Notre Dame to chew up a good deal of the second period. One with 5:55 left to go in the first half. Tony Rice, a 4-yard run, hose kick makes it 14-6. And then Anthony Johnson takes it in from 12 yards out. The conversion fails, but Notre Dame leads it by a score of 20-6 with 2:41 left in the half. Air Force came back. Anthony Roberson's 60-yard kickoff return set Air Force up at the 26-yard line of Notre Dame. As you see Lou Holtz come onto the field. Smith took it in, Andy Smith, from 3 yards out to make it 20-13 on Steve Yarborough's kick. And that's where we sit at halftime. The entertainment going down on the field as we see the fans here. Lou Holtz wondering what his team can do right now, wondering if they can keep the ball away from Air Force's potent offense.
Well, he's going to have an opportunity because he has a choice here in the second half to take the football, and that's always a big opportunity here as you watch Fisher DeBerry coming out again. He's very upset with the time, and he's telling the officials that Notre Dame should be penalized for not having this halftime going on time. And that's a point.
They stranded that clock, as you see.
But the reason they had such a long halftime, they had a presentation here which was very fitting. They honored Paul Hornung, who also broadcast Notre Dame games. Paul Hornung was honored here at halftime by the University of Notre Dame.
Now they've got the stopwatch on the clock as Joe Klimshot, who is the referee, gathers around with his staff to see if they can remedy the situation. Fisher DeBerry is still upset.
He just wants a penalty out of this. He wants a delay a game penalty. That's what he's talking about.
He said he's saying that his team's ready to play football, and that they were told to come out at that point and they should play. And Joe Klimshot is explaining to Fisher DeBerry that there was a 20-minute halftime out there, and Fisher is still really upset. He pleads his case and points to the clock, and we're going to be all set to go. Notre Dame will get the ball here in the second half. The officials for today's game, it's a mixed crew from the Collegiate Independent Football Association and also the Western Athletic Conference. Joe Klimshot is the referee. Carl Crawley is the umpire. The side judge from the WAC is Charles Sisk. The line judge from the WAC is Gerald Wright. Donald Goulman of the CIFOA is the head linesman. Joe Dorenzo, the field judge. The back judge out of the WAC is Michael Carey. And that's your officiating crew this afternoon. Let's take a look at some of the scores from around the country. Team we'll see next week, Navy.
Against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh came back, broke a 3-game losing streak. They're leading Navy 21-3 here in the second period.
Virginia leading Wake Forest. That's a surprise in the ACC, 24-7. That game at Winston-Salem this afternoon. And Georgia in the SEC, 11th ranked in the country, leading Kentucky by a score of 10-7. Our score here at halftime shows Notre Dame leading Air Force by a margin of 20-13. Just about set for the second half kickoff as Steve Yarborough will do the honors. And back deep is going to be Rahib Ishmael. We call him Rocket. He'll get a chance to turn on the Jets this time around as he stands at his own 5-yard line. 4.25 speed in the 40. Yarborough steps it off, and we'll be ready for second half action. Notre Dame by 7. Here's the kick. And it's going to be short, but Ishmael will run up under it, and Juan Francisco takes it instead. No, that's Johnson. A flag is thrown in at the 32-yard line. Anthony Johnson is the man who picks up the football.
And the flag came immediately from the official right in front of the Air Force bench, and it looks like it may go against the blocking team or the returning team right here.
See what the call is.
It's going to be probably holding. Let's see it.
There's the indication. They'll mark it off, and Notre Dame will have to start this drive deeper.
Holding on the return team during the run back. 1st and 10.
It's not exactly how Lou Holtz hoped his team would open offensively, and Tony Rice heads out onto the football field. He started all but one series here in the first half for Notre Dame. Notre Dame offensive line, young as it is, has played well. Syracuse leading East Carolina this afternoon by 3 touchdowns. That game down in Greenville, North Carolina. Syracuse 19th best in the country according to the latest poll.
And moving up every week.
First down, Notre Dame. There's the pitch. It's Green on the corner. Good blocking out in front by Grunhard, but it falls apart at the 25-yard line. It's going to be a gain of about 4 on the play.
That field is a little bit wet, and Green is just looking to make his cut and be sure of his footing here. He normally would really turn it on here, but he could slip. Watch him as he follows a whole horde of blockers up in front of him, and he gets decent yardage. You think it's just another play. He picked up 5 yards.
Toth is the man who makes the stop as Green heads to the sideline, and Tony Brooks takes his place. We have not seen Braxton Banks this afternoon. 2nd down and 5. Here's Brooks. Brooks out over the 30-yard line to the 31. Tripped up by Powell. Finished off there by, looks like it was Hecker. Algren is the man who stopped.
Excellent running, but also fine blocking on the right side by Grunhard, 75, the right guard, and Dean Brown. As you see the high-stepping Brooks get up over, crack that line of scrimmage, make good yardage, and get a first down.
Brooks heads to the sideline. They shuttle backs in and out at the I position. It's 1st and 10. Mark Green back there now for Johnson, the fullback. Here's Green. Green steps up inside, the block by Dean Brown, and gets up over the 35-yard line. Tackled by Joe Powell.
Little counter move in there, just keeping the ball on the ground, getting better field position, no mistakes. Little counter play here as they hand the ball deep to Mark Green as he goes again off the right side and makes another 5 yards.
Any offensive coordinator will accept 5 yards in every play. Brings up 2nd down and 5. All just over the 35 to the 36-yard line. Out of the I formation, Waters is in the slot to the top. Here's Rice. Delay counter. It goes to Brooks. Not much running room there, but he gets out to the 40-yard line, makes some for himself, gets up about 4 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and short. Tackled on a play by Mark Lyons, among others.
And you know that Lou Holtz said at halftime, we're just going to go after these guys. We're going to control the ball. We're going to score points by getting our running game going. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. Control the football. They lead by 7. Can't afford to give the football up to that wishbone attack.
Seeing Rod West into the ball game for the first time at tight end. As Tony Rice comes out on 3rd down and 1. Double tight end set for the Irish. Handoff. It's going to go to Anthony Johnson, apparently up over the 42-yard line. Now it's Tony Brooks. Brooks on the carry. West led him into the hole, and he gets the first down.
They're alternating their tailbacks. They're running back. They're running Green and Brooks back in, keeping them fresh, bringing the plays in with their tailbacks, and keeping the pressure on the Air Force defense and the offensive line, which has been so effective. The early going for Notre Dame is doing a job right now.
6th play of the drive that started at their own 20-yard line. They're at the 42. 1st and 10. Here's Rice moving down the line and gets across the line of scrimmage, across the 45 to the 47, and scrapes his way for 5 more yards.
And that was the option with Tony Rice, and of course he didn't put it on the corner here. He just came down the line and looked for a little hole. He saw enough yardage to keep it himself, running up behind the block of Tim Ryan, number 52, the offensive guard, and he picks up 6 yards.
The eye of the Falcon looking out on the field, surveying the Air Force defense and saying, my, those guys have been out there a while. 2nd down and 5. Here's the handoff. Tony Brooks, the I-back, gets stood up. Gets enough, though, for the first down in Air Force territory at the 47-yard line.
What's happening now is the Air Force, they're just blocking him on the line of scrimmage, forcing the secondary to come up and make the hits. And you know when you got to come up from a free safety position as Mario Mathis did to make the hit. But look at this. He just puts his shoulder down, and you've got 4 people trying to bring him down. 1 linebacker and 3 secondary guys, and it's tough. But the offensive line of Notre Dame, that has been the surprise all season, is really doing the job.
Tony Brooks has more weight on him than the linebackers combined for the Air Force. He's a 218. The 2 linebackers, Hill and Powell, on that play, 206. And off straight ahead to the fullback this time, Johnson, up over the 45-yard line down to the Air Force 42.
It's not fancy, but they're running right at him, and that's what it comes down to. Possession football, no mistakes, keeping it on the ground.
Notre Dame putting some pressure on themselves. They know they need to exhaust the clock and they need to score on this possession. The first possession of the second half, it can't be said enough, the most important in the ball game as far as Notre Dame is concerned, and every team who comes out to try to establish something in the second half. 2nd and 6. Rice to throw. After the flats, this is Brooks. Brooks open at the 25, the 20, knocked out of bounds. They'll mark him out. No! He's in for a score! They thought he stepped out of the 10, but he didn't. And he's all the way down for a touchdown, Notre Dame.
Little swing pattern here from the tailback position. Watch number 40, Brooks. He just sort of swings out to the left side here. Brooks. Rice gives him the football in front of him. He's got the blocking of Brennan. The center, Ryan the guard, McGuire, and there he goes upfield. Look at him, stayed in bounds all the way and tiptoed into the end zone. There it is, big score. He's been impressive today, the sophomore Brooks out of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Reggie Hall getting set to tack on the point after. The snap is up, the kick is good. Notre Dame has pushed out in front by a pair of touchdowns with 10:28 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Nice connection to Tony Brooks from Tony Rice. Makes it Notre Dame 27, Air Force 13. Watch this play again as Rice goes upstairs to Tony Brooks. He threads the sidelines. He makes a great play to keep from going out of bounds, and you'll see it here.
He's got great balance, and he's got great size, and he's got great speed. That's why he's such a fine back with all those qualities, and he stays inside. He gets the hit here, but he does not step out. He keeps his balance, gets it for the score, and that's a big one. That puts Notre Dame up 27-13, and there's still 10:28 left in the 3rd period.
9 plays, 81 yards. It took 4.5 minutes off the clock before Brooks took it 42 yards downfield from Rice on the connection. There's the kick, 2nd possession underway here, and this is Krause threading his way to the sideline, and again, a nice Air Force return to the 38-yard line.
The kicking is short, though. The ball came down in a position where he had a chance. That time Notre Dame did a better job of covering. It's awfully tough to cover such a short kick, though. Air Force gets the ball up over their 35-yard line.
By the way, that's Tony Rice's 6th touchdown pass of the season. 5th touchdown pass of the season. This is the worst field position all day at the 37-yard line. That tells you what their return game is doing.
You made a very interesting observation when you said the first down play, particularly out of the wishbone. The Air Force has to get good yardage. They can't afford to come up 2nd or 3rd and long. They don't like that with their type of offense.
Smith at fullback, Roberson, and also up there with him is Booker. Dallas on the corner. It's Roberson, but Roberson's going nowhere thanks to Todd Light.
Great job by the Notre Dame defense. They really had everybody covered. They forced Dowes to put the ball out late, and when he did, by that time, Light had time to come up from his corner position to make the hit. Watch how they stretch this thing out. Look at all those dark jerseys. Here comes Light on the corner. They never had a chance. Very good job of defending the 3-way option. Now it's 2nd and long.
2nd and long for the Air Force. Look at this big upset down at the Meadowlands. 24-0 Army leading Rutgers. Army running that wishbone, delivering a message apparently so far in the first half of that game. Battle of 2 great American independents. This is the running of Albert Booker, trying to get those yards that they lost a moment ago by Roberson back. He gets about 2 or 3. Brings up 3rd down and 9.
Rutgers has had trouble going back to that score with option teams. Earlier in the year, Vanderbilt, who runs the triple option, gave fits. as did Syracuse running out of the I formation. So Army, which we know can execute it, is up with a big lead. But here right now, Fisher DeBerry and his quarterback D. Dowis are looking at 3rd and 9. The ball sitting on their own 39-yard line.
Both wide receivers are in to the bottom. That's Sen. To the top is Cochran. This is the first time they've been 3rd and long all day. There are 3 out of 6 in 3rd down conversions, but they've never been from this yardage before. Dowis to throw. He grounds it to Sen, incomplete.
Came out that time looking for Sen, the individual receiver on the sideline. He still didn't have enough yardage. If he had caught the ball was thrown poorly. And now you'll see it right here off the play action. They knew they were going to throw the ball here, and he just puts the ball up short. The Air Force is forced to kick, and Notre Dame could come away with field position.
Only punt of the ball game for Blasey so far was 37 yards. There's Waters back to receive. He's had a good return thus far today. Nice kick by Blasey. Waters at his 15. Has some room. Right up the sideline, loses his balance at the 36-yard line, and flags are thrown all over the place.
And they came very late, and it's going to be a clip against Notre Dame. The flag was thrown very late. They're going to call a clip against Notre Dame.
47-yard punt by Blasey that time for Air Force. Chris Blasey. Let's see it again.
Watch this. Waters with his terrific balance and just takes off from that starting position and gets on the corner, and there's a block. Well, we just missed it before. There was a clip right there. There it was.
They didn't catch the first one. They caught the second one, and it negates a nice return on the play by Ricky Waters, and it'll push them back. He got out to the 36-yard line, but the clip, they're going to call it from the spot down around the 24-yard line, and they'll mark it half the distance. They'll take it down to the 12.
2 clipping fouls on the run back. Take the one furthest back, half the distance of the goal line, 1st and 10.
8:38 left to go on the 3rd period of play as the clipping call pushes Notre Dame back to the Notre Dame 11-yard line. So we've got Notre Dame starting in their worst field position thus far of the afternoon. And they'll come back on offense. Lou Holtz not happy at the double clipping call. Fine of the Irish. It's been showing, of course, with their win over Miami last week, and they're trying to tack another one on today. Tyler's in motion. They come back to Green on the pitch. To the 20, to the 22-yard line. A nice gain on the play, close to a 1st down. Give him 9 yards on it, and Toth on the stop.
The Air Force defense now have been on the field a lot today, and particularly in this half already. And watch as Mark Green follows his blockers, and you see a lot of white shirts on the ground because the blocking up front is really starting to take its toll. A bigger, more aggressive Notre Dame offense is starting to go to work with the running game.
Mark Green, 10 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown. He gets the 1st down this time, 1st and 10. Brooks is in there and set back. This is Johnson, the fullback, up over the 25-yard line to the 26. Gets another 4 yards on the play. Johnson, quite a running back, a fullback, 38 carries, 137 yards. He had a sprained ankle against Michigan State, didn't play against Purdue. From South Bend, a local product. Great inside blocking ability.
They've got a lot of backs. They've got depth at their running back positions at fullback and tailback, and of course, an outstanding quarterback in Tony Rice.
Johnson scored a touchdown today. Here he takes it on the pitch. Tries to jump a tackle. Another flag is flying. Going to be short of the 1st down. Maybe gets a yard out to the 27.
That time they put him in a position, and he's got the speed to get on the corner from the fullback position. As we watch Joe Clinshot, the referee, tell us about another foul below the knees.
Blocking below the knees. And let's see if
Lou Holtz is not happy about it. Here we go. Little toss back to the fullback. And it's hard to find who was blocking below the knees, but the call goes against Notre Dame, and it's going to push him back again.
Numerous penalties. Notre Dame, that's their 3rd for 37 yards today.
Got an illegal block against the offense. It will be 2nd down.
So it's going to be 2nd down coming up here for Notre Dame as they mark the penalty off at the 27-yard line as you watch Ricky Waters discussing things with Lou Holtz on the Fighting Irish sideline of the field. Cold day that has seen drizzle, outright rain. Right now just a cold wind with a 48-degree temperature blowing across the field.
The Fighting Irish today have not made many mistakes. They haven't had that many penalties until the second half. They only had one in the first half. They haven't had any turnovers of any consequence. They played very error-free up to this juncture. Ricky Waters comes back in with the play from Lou Holtz.
15-yard penalty, though, will put them in a bad spot. 2nd and 19, and the ball put back at their own 13-yard line. Ishmael and Waters are the wideouts. 3 wide receivers if you count Green to the bottom side. Only one setback for Tony Rice. Rice to throw, wants Waters, complete at the 21. But a nice open field stop by Hecker, the strong safety, to make the play, gain on the play of about 8 yards.
The feeling was that they would exploit the secondary of the Air Force because they've had their problems this year. And this is Tony Rice just on a sprint out. He's not trying to get all of it. He's just trying to get some of that yardage back. But good defense that time by Hecker. The strong safety out of Fort Arnold, California, the senior, came up and made the hit on Waters. And Tony Rice is looking at 3rd and 12.
They're down, 12 yards to go. Notre Dame leading 27-13. Blitz is on. And they are in on the quarterback in a hurry. Coming in is Hecker from the strong safety position on the blitz.
That was timed perfectly that time. They brought it. That's Hill, the linebacker. He comes between the center and the left guard. He times it perfectly. There he is. And quarterback Tony Rice never had a chance. Big play. Watch him come. Just splits the block right there, and Tony never had a chance. He's down, and Notre Dame is forced to punt, but basically because they made some mistakes here, penalty-wise, to stop themselves.
Second punt of the day for Jim Sexton. There's the kick. Back to get it is Krause. He handles it at the 46-yard line. Grunhardt is there to make sure he stays down. So Air Force gets the ball back defensively with 5:46 left to go in the 3rd period of play. It's Notre Dame 27, Air Force 13. We'll be back after this word from your local station. Welcome back to South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame Stadium. Steve Martin here along with Bob Cacciola. Notre Dame leading the Air Force Academy by a score of 27-13 as you look over the shoulder of Dee Dowis, the outstanding junior quarterback for the Falcons. Set a single-season rushing mark for a quarterback in NCAA history. First handoff goes to the fullback right up the middle. Andy Smith gets a couple of yards.
They forgot about Smith after the first quarter of this game. They brought him back just before the half, and he was the guy who was instrumental in getting him that last touchdown. They've got to come back to that fullback to keep those linebackers at home, and that time they slipped him the ball, picked up 4 yards. There's still plenty of time on the clock for him, and they're in very good field position.
At midfield, 2nd and 6. Dowis to throw, a little jump pass. It's going to be complete. Complete to Cochran on the sideline. Good for the first down at the Notre Dame 42-yard line.
They lull you to sleep a little bit. That time he came off the play fake and just put the ball on Cochran for enough for the first down, a possession-type pass, and that's what they do to you. They're moving the football. They've got a first down in Notre Dame territory.
Stan Smagala makes sure that Cochran goes no further, but it's far enough for a first down. Dallas will send Krause wide to the bottom side. Back on the pitch, Roberson on the corner. It's inside Streeter and then gets down to the 39-yard line. Todd Light is there to make the stop.
You got to be impressed with Todd Light. He's a sophomore from Flint, Michigan, an outstanding athlete. He's made some big plays today, game-saving type tackles. Here he comes up in the corner. He doesn't make the tackle, but he forces the runner Roberson to go back inside and really come up with a short gain. Todd Light has excellent speed, terrific reactions.
One of the things we've seen thus far this afternoon in the second half, Bob, is that Air Force really hasn't done an awful lot or as much as they did in the first half on first down. Dowis looking to throw. Now he'll tuck it under. He commits to the run and gets very little yardage at the 40-yard line. Ned Volcar is there to make sure he stays down along with Chris Zorich.
But a good job by Smagala, the cornerback on the wide receiver, Sen. He was looking to hit Sen off the play-action fake. Smagala had tight coverage on him. Dowis had to tuck the ball in. Comes up with a very short gain, and again, it's 3rd and 7. They don't like to be in these kind of situations.
They've been on it the last 2 possessions that they've had. 3rd and 12 last possession. This possession is 3rd and 7. Cochran splits wide to the top, Sen wide to the bottom. In the slot is Roberson. Booker rolls to the top side of the formation, and so does Dowis to throw. Throw is complete out there in the flats. It's going to Booker, but it's not enough for the first down at the Notre Dame 35-yard line.
Todd Light again makes the hit. Booker makes the catch. It's going to be 4th down, but they're in 4-down zone, and they're going to go for it.
They almost have to in this situation, down by 2 touchdowns, 27-13.
They break up the wishbone here with motion, and he puts the ball right on the corner. But again, watch number 1, Light, come up right into the picture right there. Sure tackler in the open field.
Big play in this ball game early in the second half with 3:32 left to go in the third. Air Force needs 3 yards for a first down to keep this drive alive. Go to the fullback, Smith. He's stopped. Hit by Pritchard and Stonebreaker, short of the first down.
Pritchard and Stonebreaker. Those are 2 names you call out often with this Notre Dame defense. They are active football players. There's number 42, Michael Stonebreaker. Watch this hit here. They give it to the fullback. There's Stonebreaker. There's 34, Pritchard. And coming up to make the final hit is Terrell, the safety man, and they fall short. Big play by the Notre Dame defense.
And the offense now gets a chance to take over. The Notre Dame defense has stopped Air Force the last 2 series, but we're going to have a measurement here just to make sure. Bring the chain gang out. It is going to be short of the first down as we suspected, and Notre Dame will get the football.
That was a very interesting call. 4th and 3, they go to the fullback. They figure maybe Notre Dame was thinking they're going to come out with a quarterback or pitch it, and they slip it back inside. It wasn't enough.
3:25 left to go in the third period of play. We've got a break in the action with Air Force trailing Notre Dame 27-13. Back at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana, Steve Martin here along with Bob Cacciola. There's the total offense, and Notre Dame has almost a 100-yard lead in that category.
Very impressive stats for the Notre Dame defense because the Air Force has moved the ball against everybody, but Notre Dame is a tough defensive football team. They made some adjustments in their defensive line. They've changed their look from an odd look to an even look, covering the guards, and they've really slowed down the Air Force offense, particularly in the second half.
Taking over this football game, even though they've only scored 1 touchdown, they have dominated with their defense, and right now their offense is back on the field after holding on 4th and 3. Rice to the corner. Rice stumbles, otherwise could have gotten more. Gets over the 35-yard line out to the 37.
That was a designed sprint out with one intention. Rice was going to run the football without any doubt, and he stumbled a little bit. That field is a heavy track right now. It's kind of damp from the earlier rains. That was a sprint out with Rice coming on the corner.
Rice needed only 17 yards coming into this ball game to become the leading single-season quarterback rusher. He has 25 or 26 thus far today, so he surpasses Joe Theismann's mark set back in 1970. 2nd and 8. 2nd and 7 from the 35-yard. And off Brooks. Brooks up over the 40. Boy, he carries people. He's a tailback in a fullback's body over the 45-yard line to the 46. Hecker is the one who has to bring him down along with Alger.
6'2", 218, and look at this. Watch it. Counter play. You can't arm tackle him. That's one right. He breaks out of that. Now watch him lower here. Who wants to tackle shoulder pads and helmets, especially when you're running behind that speed and quickness? Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tony Brooks, only a sophomore.
11 yards on that carry. He's got 76 on the day. Up first down for Notre Dame. They're at their own 47. And off fullback this time through. That's Johnson. Hard yards to midfield. Gain of 3.
Hard yards exactly, and that's Lou Holtz's theory in the second half. Come out and run it at them and really overpower them with the backs, the quality of our backs, and the size of our offensive line, and they're doing it. They're dominating play, controlling the football, giving them a taste of their own type of ball game. Ball control.
Brooks with 76 yards, Green with 50 yards, Johnson has 45 yards, Rice has piled up 26 yards. Get some mileage out of their running backs. Blitz is on, back to throw. Here's the halfback option pass going for Ricky Waters. It is complete at the 5-yard line. He's in for a score. Thrown by Steve Bellis.
Bellis, number 8, into the game at halfback, and they pitch the ball back to him. From the tailback position, he pulls up. Waters, the single receiver, one guy deep, goes downfield, gets behind the secondary, The cornerback never finds the football. Ellis makes the catch, and then with a great second effort, stretches himself across the plane of the goal.
Waters for the touchdown, and going for the point after is going to be Reggie Ho. Pete Graham to hold. Here's the kick. It's good. With 1:40 left to go in the third quarter. Razzle-dazzle out of Notre Dame. Bellis to Waters for 50 yards. Notre Dame 34-13. We'll be back after this word from your local station. Tony Rice to Steve Bellis, and he goes upstairs for Ricky Waters.
Senior quarterback Steve Bellis from Phoenix, Arizona, puts the ball up. Beautiful concentration by Ricky Waters. Catches the ball over his shoulder with a defender right there, and then the second effort gets him into the end zone. Very spectacular play and a big one for Notre Dame.
Bellis has thrown 4 passes this year, Bob. He's completed 2 of them, both for touchdowns.
They slip him in the game. People forget about him as he comes in there. It should alert the defense, but they never saw it. And Notre Dame capitalized on it. That's the versatility of this team and the kind of athlete that Lou Holtz has brought to Notre Dame.
Notre Dame strikes quickly, as you saw by that drive chart. 34-13 they lead with 1:40 left to go in the third quarter. We've got Anthony Johnson getting set to kick. No, we're going to have another kicker in the ball game here. Now it is going to be Johnson. Johnson's going to step up and go for it.
He's probably going to squib it. That's what he's going to do.
Either that or they're unhappy with Hackett's kicks because Hackett has been short and Air Force has been returning them. This is Krause. Krause bounces outside, gets to the seam, and gets to about the 37-yard line. He's driven back behind the 35. That'll be their worst field position of the afternoon at the 37, so I guess it's effective. Notre Dame, 8 possessions, 5 touchdowns. Of course, 1 possession to end the first half. There you see the score at Morgantown. West Virginia leading Boston College 24-12. Syracuse piling on the points on East Carolina, leading 31-7. Great American Independence in action here today, and one of them, Notre Dame, trotting past Air Force so far. Minute 31 left to go in the third. Dallas on the corner. He'll tuck it under and run, and he's brought down by Pat Carroll at the 39-yard line. Gain of about 3, but the average gain on first down for Air Force has dropped dramatically.
Terrell coming from the free safety position, showing the speed, had a great day last week against Miami. Came from the free safety position to make the play on the quarterback and keep it to a short gain.
Terrell, of course, making that touchdown return of an interception against Miami a week ago, and of course the most memorable shot that he'll remember for a long time when he batted away that 2-point conversion pass against Miami to preserve Notre Dame's win. This is Dowis to throw. Dowis on the run, scrambling for his right. Zorich and Stonebreaker are there to throw him for a loss of 3 yards back to the 36.
He's trying to get Sen, the wide receiver, deep against Todd Light. That's not going to happen. Light can run step for step with him. This is a little counter action, almost like a bootleg action off the wishbone. And watch who comes up in his face. Number 42, Stonebreaker, the linebacker, makes the play here, along with the nose tackle, Zorich. Great effort. The Notre Dame defense has come alive this second half and really shut down this wishbone.
Air Force 3 for 8 third down conversions. They're looking at 3rd and long here. 14 seconds left to go in the period. Dallas rolling. Dallas stops, fires. It is complete, but it is short of the first down. Completed to Roberson, and Todd Light delivers a king-size hit.
You want to look for one outstanding player defensively all day. It's got to be number 1, Todd Light. We've talked about him. This is just a pure sprint out. He hits the wide receiver. Excuse me, he hits his halfback in the flat. Here's a hit by Light. Big play. 4th down for the Air Force.
That ends the 4th period, or the 3rd period of play, as we'll get set for 4th quarter action. Light comes to the sideline. So we'll take a break and have one more period of football remaining here at South Bend with our score. Notre Dame 34, Air Force 13. Giving you the power to be your best. We're at South Bend, Indiana. Steve Martin here along with Bob Cacciola, just getting set to take the turn into the 4th quarter of play with Notre Dame leading Air Force 34-13. They have exploded in this 3rd quarter with 2 touchdowns. And Ricky Waters getting set to receive the punt of Chris Blasey.
When you look at how many points the Air Force has averaged coming into this game, 32 points per game, over 432 yards. You could see the job is being done by Notre Dame defensively against really a very important, a very impressive and consistent offense the Air Force Academy.
Notre Dame allowing only 127 yards to the rush thus far this season. So they seem to be right on target as far as that's concerned. Lazy waiting to punt the ball away as Ricky Waters gets set. So far in the ball game, this is how it looks statistically. Notre Dame leading in the rushing category. The passing category, the big 50-yard reception to Ricky Waters. Air Force at 153 rushing yards. Most of that in the first half. 4th and 1, Blasey to kick. Fair catch called for by Waters, and he'll get away from the football. At the 20-yard line. Notre Dame will get the ball right back.
Notre Dame comes back with Tony Rice at quarterback. He's had a good day, particularly running the football.
Notre Dame had the football in that third quarter a total of 10 minutes and 21 seconds. They owned the football that time around. Time of possession in the ball game now heavily in favor of Notre Dame.
They just gone to their backs, and they've got a bevy of them at tailback with Mark Green and Tony Brooks, who's been particularly impressive. He's in there right now, and the fullback Anthony Johnson.
1st and 10. On a long count. Here comes a pitch to Brooks. Brooks gets up over the 20-yard line down to about the 23. Rodney Culver is a new fullback into the ball game now for Notre Dame.
They list him as a tailback also, but at 6 foot 212, he can play a lot of positions. When he came out of high school, number 5, Rodney Culver, he was rated as one of the top 17 running backs in the country coming out of Detroit, Michigan.
We'll watch that he might possibly get the ball here. There you see him lining up at the fullback spot behind Tony Rice. As they look at 2nd down and 8 yards to go at the 22-yard line. Rice to throw. Little play action. Gets some time and is incomplete. Intended for Derek Brown.
Trying to hit the tight end, the big freshman Derek Brown, down about 20 yards and on the sideline. As you look at 86. Come out with the football. They figure they're looking for the run. Maybe they can hit their big tight end, but they're showing a lot of offense now, and that's for future weeks and future scouts. At that time, he's looking for his tight end. 86, Derek Brown at 6'6", 240, and only a freshman.
Tony Rice, you see him in the huddle, told us yesterday, he said the dart experiment, throwing the darts, is working. He threw darts at Anthony Johnson's birthday party the other night. Got about 100 tosses in there. 3rd and 7, 4 for 6 on 3rd down. Here's Rice to roll. Rice upfield, incomplete, intended for Waters. And a great play made right in front of the Notre Dame bench by, that's going to be Toth, number 26.
A little late as he comes here. This is a sprint out. He's looking for Eilers, the split receiver, coming down, doing a sideline cut, but the cornerback comes up, Andy Toth, the senior out of Merritt Island, Florida, and makes a nice play on the receiver and forces Notre Dame to punt.
Jim Sexton to come on. He's hit a pair of 36-yarders. Deep is Krause now for Air Force. High snap. There's the kick. Off the side of his foot. Takes a Notre Dame bounce. Krause will get away from it, and it's down there at the 30-yard line. So Air Force will get the football back by the most successful defensive possession of their team so far in the football game. It's 34-13 in favor of Air Force. Back after this from your local station. Welcome back to Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana. Steve Martin here along with Bob Cassiola. Notre Dame leading Air Force 34-13, and a new quarterback in the ball game for Air Force. It's Lance McDowell out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Sitting in now for D. Dallas. We've got a flag on the first play from scrimmage. And it likely, well, we'll wait for the official to make the call. A new fullback in the game as well, Tim Kosmatka.
Kosmatka, the senior, comes in for Andy Smith at fullback. We've got a
Red ball, false start on the offense. We're going to add 2 seconds.
That's what often happens with a new quarterback in his cadence, the rhythm. The movement is made by Jeff Johnson, the right offensive tackle. for the Air Force. He jumps offside. There's McDowell. You mentioned he's a junior out of Shreveport, Louisiana, 5'8", 178 pounds. He's rushed the ball 11 times this year already for 111 yards, and he's thrown the ball only 3 times with 2 completions and 1 touchdown.
Fisher DeBerry has assigned him with the task of trying to move the Air Force offense against the Notre Dame defense that has stiffened here in the second half. They have stopped what Air Force was doing on first down. They have effectively split the wishbone here today. Air Force only 31 yards offense this half. They have nearly 200 for the game. McDowell to the corner, pitches to Roberson. Roberson looked for a minute like he wanted to throw it and gets thrown out of bounds by Streeter at the 20-yard line.
He sure wanted to throw it. He was looking upfield to hit his wide receiver, Cochran, but Cochran was well covered deep by Pat Terrell, the safety man. As you see it here, he's looking to hit Cochran, who's streaking up the right side. But when he's covered, he decides to tuck it in and run, and there's Streeter, the strong safety, the senior out of Chicago, who really has great speed and quickness for that position. 17 solo tacklers in the secondary, the leader in the secondary, and he made the hit. And it's 2nd and long.
Roberson spent too much time looking for the laces. 2nd 14. McDowell pops out, and there's no one there to protect it. And he gets thrown down at the 20-yard line. No gain. Williams is in on the stop, among others.
And the Notre Dame defense just beating the offense on the line of scrimmage. As you watch here, penetration here. Good play by Volcar, the linebacker. There's the big tackle coming from the backside. George Williams out of Willingboro, New Jersey, making the hit.
See Scott Kowalkowski in the lineup for Notre Dame at the defensive end position. Came back from his injury. 3rd down coming up for Air Force. Rolling. This is McDowell. Big rush is on. He won't get out of it. He's sacked at the 12-yard line. And it is going to be Zorich in on the stop along with George Williams. Great play by the tackle and the nose guard.
Great play this second half by the defensive line. In particular, Zorich just beats the block of the center. He puts the initial pressure, and Williams comes back from the backside to make the hit. And the quarterback, what an indoctrination for Lance McDowell in his first series. He's at it.
Chris Blasey from Midland, Michigan on the punt. It's a short one. Notre Dame's going to get the football in excellent operating condition at the 43-yard line. It's a kick of 29 yards by Chris Blasey, and Notre Dame takes the football back over. 12:23 left to go on the football game. As you look at Mid-Autumn in Notre Dame, Fighting Irish leading by 21. Next week on most of these stations, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame head to Baltimore to take on the Midshipmen of Navy at Baltimore's Memorial Stadium. Notre Dame and Navy next week. Elsewhere around the country, down in the ACC, it's Virginia leading Wake Forest 34-7.
Big Ten score there. Iowa ahead of Purdue 24-7 in the 4th period, and West Virginia ranked 7th in the country, running away a little bit on Boston College.
Arkansas still undefeated, 16-7 over a Houston team that can score. They had 82 points last week. Here's Notre Dame at the Air Force 43-yard line. Tony Rice still in there at quarterback. Gets inside the 40 to about the 38. Joe Powell is in on the stop along with Gary Tillman.
Starting to see Rodney Culver at the fullback position in place of Anthony Johnson. Culver, they're giving the freshman out of Detroit a chance to play today. They're starting to substitute a little bit in their offensive line. But they're still with Tony Rice at quarterback, Mark Green, and Culver at the running back position.
Ricky Waters is split to the top side. Ishmael to the bottom side. Rice to the corner, takes his own number and goes with it to the 36. Meets a host of people. Mike Juries leads the charge for Air Force along with J.T. Tokish from Seattle.
When you look at this game and you reflect back, that Air Force defense, which was very vulnerable, has been on the field a lot as they run the option here, and they just double down on the tackle. Javadlo with Grunhard, the offensive guard, and Dean Brown, the big right tackle.
Also have to take in consideration they were on the field to illustrate that point 10 out of the 15 minutes in the 3rd period. 3rd down and short for Notre Dame. 3rd and about 3. All on the 36-yard line. In motion, Mike McLoone. Pitch to Green on the corner. Green's got the first down and gets inside the 30 down to about the 29-yard line.
The quickness of Green to get on the corner, stretch it out, and then knowing he can't make it to the sideline, turns the play back inside. Watch this, the pitch back to him. He's on the corner. There's 3 white shirts outside of him, so he just cuts it back inside, makes good yardage, gets the first down.
Brian Hill and Lane Bean are the people who finally get caught up with him at the 29-yard line. Gain of 11, or rather by 7 yards. He has 11 carries on the day, 58 yards and a touchdown for Mark Green. 1st and 10. Rice gives to Tony Brooks. He gets outside. But a nice open field tackle by Mario Mathis throws Brooks from his feet. He gets over the 25-yard line to the 23.
That's about the only way you want to tackle Brooks. You don't want to get up high with him. He's just too strong for you. You continually substitute. Now back into the game comes Bellis. Number 8 comes in, and he's coming back in at tailback, accompanied by number 43, Rod West. West is coming in at the tight end position, so Bellis is at the tailback position along with Culver.
See if Air Force recognizes. 2nd down and 4. Big rush is on. Bellis will go as a tailback this time and gets tackled shortly after getting the football. It's going to be picked up by Powell, also Brian Hill. Another stop by Tokish as well.
Hill has played hard today. Brian Hill, the sophomore out of Columbus, Ohio, comes in again and gets penetration, enough of Bellis to slow him down and give everybody else a chance of making the hit.
You got to look at the size disadvantage as well that may be wearing down as Air Force goes on in this ball game. They're giving up 20 to 30 pounds a man, and maybe more in some instances. 3rd down, about 4 to go at the 23 of Air Force. Rice calls his own number, goes straight ahead. He's close to it at the 20.
Very close to it. You get back to the point you made about the Air Force giving away size and numbers on defense. The reason for it is because their offense really hasn't moved the football. As you look at this, it's going to be very close.
It's going to be short.
Little counter option here. He's going to dive inside. A lot of people come to make the play. They've held him short. It's 4th down, but in the 4-down zone, they're leading 34-13. This is an easy decision.
They shrug off the field goal unit, and they'll go for it. 4th and inches.
They're in their own wishbone.
Rice gives to the fullback. He goes straight ahead, and he's brought down. That's Culver, and he's got the first down at the 17-yard line.
The inability of the Air Force's offense, their wishbone, to control the line of scrimmage, to get some points, has really created a problem today because they put their defense, the weakest part of their whole team, on the field a lot against Notre Dame. And Notre Dame's really taken advantage of it. Good job by the offensive line. Look at him come off the ball. Number 61 now in at right guard. Tom Gorman leads the way for the fullback, Rodney Culver.
1st down. A little bit of action ahead of time. Dean Brown jumps the gun a little bit for Notre Dame, and that'll send the Irish back 5 yards after the illegal procedure penalty. 5th penalty of the game here for Notre Dame. We've had some miscues both ways here.
Good ball. False start on the offense. 1st down, 15.
So it's 1st and 15 for the Irish at the Air Force 21-yard line. McLoone comes to the sidelines. Ricky Waters is in. He's split to the top side with Raheem Ishmael to the wide side of the field. 1st and 15 for Rice. Rice fakes to the fullback. Here comes the wingback reverse. Waters trapped in the backfield and brought down. Making the play is going to be McNeilis, the nose guard who held his ground on Ricky Waters.
McNeilis gets penetration, number 61. He comes from the left tackle position. Actually, they moved him around. He gets in the backfield and does a nice job. Stays with him, and that's not easy to do. Ricky Waters is a very tricky guy with lots of quickness and speed. He made the hit, forces him back, and now it's 2nd and 22, and Notre Dame's offense has not been in this position very often today.
No, they haven't. McNeilis camped out on Waters' left ankle. Mark Green coming to the sideline. Notre Dame will have to hurry to get this play off. They're just getting into the huddle with 11 seconds left on the 25-second clock. 7:13 left to go in the ball game. It's Notre Dame 34-13, looking at 2nd and 22. Rice to throw. Steps back, fires for Waters in the end zone. He's got it. Touchdown. an adjustment by Ricky Waters. He looks over one shoulder, the other shoulder, and the ball is there.
Great effort by Waters and a beautiful pass by Tony Rice. But the secondary, Mario Mathis, the safety man, never looked for the football. And that's a Cardinals thing. You've got to find the football as a defender once that ball is up. Beautiful execution here. Tony Rice puts the ball up. Watch Waters in the end zone. Watch 18. And finally, when he turns, he's far too late. Great effort. He stayed in the end zone without going out the back line. And big touchdown for Notre Dame.
Reggie Ho with the kick. It is up, and it is good. And Notre Dame now comfortably out in front by a margin of 41-13. So the Fighting Irish tack one on a nice pass from Tony Rice to Ricky Waters. We'll be back after this from your local station.
Here's Tony Rice coming off of this. It's going to be an option action. He comes back, counter, steps down the line of scrimmage, and pulls back and looks for his receiver, Waters, who's got behind the safety man, number 18, Mario Mathis, who never finds the football, and that's what he's done. 4 receptions, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards.
28 yards on that play. The touchdown to put Notre Dame up 41-13 over the Air Force with 7:02 left to go. Anthony Johnson getting set to kick off. The fullback to Dublin. Here he's trying to keep the kick low and limit what has been a very positive category, one of the very few for Air Force here in the second half, that of their return game. Sends Roberson deep, and it goes out of the end zone. Inside the end zone, it's going to be a touchback out to the 20.
That's the best kick of the day.
Beautiful.
Maybe the last one for Notre Dame. Kicked it away from the return man and out of the end zone.
Roberson watched it go out, hoping it would go out at the 1 and be a 5-yard penalty, but it would not. 9 plays, 43 yards. Look at the time that they took on. Watch this. North Carolina State leading Clemson in Raleigh 10-3. The ACC lead is at stake in that game, and Clemson 10th ranked in the country. Army continues to surprise Rutgers 27-7 at the Meadowlands.
That's the 3rd time that number 70, Jeff Johnson, the right tackle, has gone off sides today. 3 times the most experienced offensive lineman they have. He's had his problem.
Dead ball. 12 starts on the offense. 1st and 15.
So Air Force back up to their own 15-yard line. Lance McDowell still out there at the quarterback spot as Fisher DeVary looks on. Anthony Roberson is in as well. Hooker, the other running back. Andy Smith is the fullback. Lance McDowell with the cleanest uniform out there. Goes to the corner, fakes the pitch, and goes up to about the 17-yard line. In there to bring him down is Corny Southall.
Also in there is Andre Jones at the outside linebacker position, and that tells the story.
Wow.
The offense of Notre Dame, particularly on the ground, the Air Force offense, which came in with all kinds of national statistics for 20 yards.
Have been able to get on the football field. 6:35 left to go in the football game. 2nd down and 11 for Air Force. They trail here, 41-13. Handoff to Smith, the fullback. He's trying to get to the 20, and that becomes a tough task. In there on the stop, Ned Bolcar and Andre Jones.
That's a story unto itself. Ned Bolcar, the senior linebacker from Phillipsburg, New Jersey. He, along with Stonebreaker and Pritchett, gives Notre Dame probably the 3 top linebackers in the country. Bolcar, a starter last year, 21 solo tackles.
Look at the scoring by quarters here. The drought by Air Force. They were shut down in the second half. 20 yards total offense in the second half, and nothing to show on the scoreboard. 3rd down and 10. Air Force trailing 41-13. McDowell to throw. Had a man open, but it is deflected off his hands by George Streeter. That was Cochran they were throwing to in the flats at the 37-yard line.
But pressure. Notre Dame puts pressure on him here. Number 7, McDowell, the quarterback, sprinting to his left. He's got somebody in his face right there. Number 37 coming in was Corny Southall. And Streeter, the strong safety, coming over to protect against the pass, but he never had a chance to set up and throw the football.
Lazy is on the punt. His longest today has been 47. Waters is back to receive. Good hang time on it. Waters loses the football, but gets it back, or does he? Air Force is saying they've got the football, and they do. 36-yard punt but it's a fumble recovery by Air Force. Trent Van Holzen is one player who gets up off it, and Bill Price as well. Bill Price headed to the sidelines. Let's look at it.
He's got the football here. It hits him, bounces off. He took his eye for a minute because he saw the defender in front of him. The big hit there by number 49 for the Air Force, Bill Wasilis, a free safety. He made the hit, caused the fumble, the recovery, and the Air Force gets the ball back inside the 40-yard line of Notre Dame.
5:32 left to go in the football game. It is Notre Dame 41-13, but Air Force with a life at the Notre Dame 38. McDowell tucks it under and runs. McDowell at the 30, down to about the 26-yard line. His best run from scrimmage, and that's the most productive play of the second half thus far for Air Force.
The key here is the right halfback, number 21, White, comes up and makes the hit in the secondary to permit McDowell to keep the football and get the first down. Big block downfield by White.
Jeff Alm is in on the tackle for Notre Dame. It's 1st and 10. Lance McDowell, the junior out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Guiding the offense. Bolcar is in the neutral zone a little early as flags are thrown. Ned Bolcar, parade All-American, heavily recruited young man of Pennsylvania.
On the defense, 5 yards, 1st and 5.
There's 47, Bolcar.
Watch him.
There's movement on the defense, and there he comes. And he crosses the plane. They call him for offside. Number 21 blocking downfield that last time was Booker for the Air Force, the senior halfback. Made the block that sprung McDowell loose.
Extra 5 yards, sets it up at the 23, 1st and 5. McDowell, big opening. McDowell at the 10, and is wrestled down at the 9-yard line. It's brought down there quickly by Juan Francisco.
This is a counter option, and McDowell executes it beautifully. He starts to his left, fakes to his fullback, comes back over the right side, tucks the ball in, gets good block and downfield again before he's brought down in the secondary by number 32, Francisco, the cornerback. Another first down.
Darren James threw a nice block after the misdirection gave them the influence. It's 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. Air Force. Hand off to Smith, the fullback, and he is going absolutely nowhere. Wrestled down there by, that's going to be Jeff Alm once again.
This is a great effort by Alm as he comes in from the left side of the screen. Big number 90 closes down, never gives a chance for that play to develop, and holds it to a no gain. 2nd down and 10. The ball sits right on the 10-yard line.
There you see Jeff Alm from Orchard Park, Illinois. McDowell replaced Dallas early in the 4th quarter. Hands off to Smith. Smith gets over the 10-yard line down to about the 8, but we got a flag on the play.
It's a late flag, but I think it's going to be offsides against the Air Force. The left side jumped off just before the snap. And that's because they're going into this part of the end zone where you've got the student body and a lot of noise, and it's hard to hear.
Dead ball, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
See it again.
Right here in front of your screen. There's the jump, number 65.
That's John Ruby out of Spring, Texas. Here's the season average for Air Force, 432, but this is what they've got rushing today, 171. Dee Dallas watching from the sidelines. He's guided that offense most of the year, but today he's going to watch. Things get out of shape here against Notre Dame. This is McDowell on 2nd down, trying to get inside the 15-yard line, and he's hit by Big George Williams.
Big George Williams wasn't going to go for the fake. That's the play that got him down there before. He fakes that pitch and tucks it back inside. Watch this as he comes down. The fake to the fullback, counter step. As he comes down, he fakes it out there, but look at 69. Boom. Nobody's blocking him. And he makes the big play, and it's 3rd and long, and they're going backwards now. The ball is at the 15-yard line of Notre Dame.
Remember, it's 3rd and goal at the 15. As you look at George Williams, they moved him over from the nose tackle to get Sorich into the line.
They still have Streeter at strong safety and White at the corner position and Terrell at the safety position. Notre Dame going with their starters.
Cochran wide to the bottom. That's Booker in motion to the bottom. They go to the top side, pitch it at the last moment to Roberson. And he's knocked out of bounds at the 15-yard line, no gain.
And that's the disadvantage when you get behind to think they come up 3rd and 15, the ball at 15. They're going to run the option. They really didn't even want to put the ball up. They tried to run that counter option, but they're sitting there waiting for him. Notre Dame flying to the football on defense as you see Roberson take the ball out of bounds. And he's met right on that sideline by Juan Francisco, the cornerback.
Fisher DeBerry, he doesn't want to settle for a field goal here. He wants 6, obviously. His team down by a bundle, 41-13, 2:44 left to go. Single setback. In motion, that's Booker rolling to the bottom side. McDowell over the middle, incomplete. Tried to force it in there to Steve Senn to an opening that did not exist. And Streeter is there to make the stop. Second time this half that Notre Dame has stopped Air Force on 4th down.
He's going to his left here as he tries to pull up. He never gets his shoulders around properly to throw the ball. There's not much on it, but more importantly, great coverage by the secondary led by Streeter.
2:39 left to go in the football game. The score, Notre Dame 41, Air Force 13. Indiana, Steve Martin here along with Bob Castaiola. An afternoon of great American independent football. Notre Dame leading Air Force 41-13. And out behind their center is Kent Graham. Here earlier in the ball game out of Wheaton, Illinois. And he's here to direct the Irish. They go to the pass to the wingback on the sideline, and that is going to be Rod Smith, the split end, who gets a little bit of running room out to about the 18-yard line, a gain of 3.
That's a little flip screen they throw out there to the split receiver, got the ball on. That was Smith, number 28, making the catch. As we look at next Saturday, we'll be following this Notre Dame team, and they are impressive. To Baltimore against the Naval Academy.
Their 7th win in the pocket this afternoon. Most of these stations will have it at 12 noon from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. A lot of new faces in the football game now for Notre Dame as they look at 2nd and 6. Kent Graham at quarterback. Handoff. Second man through is Bellis, who they've turned into a tailback. The quarterback converted, gets out over the 35-yard line to the 38. And for Bellis, it's been an exciting day. So on a touchdown pass, let's see this one again.
That's right. They got him in the ballgame to prove whenever he comes in, he can also run the football. And here it is. Just a little counter play, and Bellis gets upfield. Big yardage.
A big gain for the Scouts, right?
That's right.
Exactly. Get a look at that.
All off.
Steve Bellis. First down. 22 first downs now for Notre Dame. 18 yards and a carry by Bellis. Culver is now in at the fullback slot. Culver bounces outside, gets up over the 40-yard line to the 41. A gain of about 5. Clock moving with a minute 23 left to go in the football game. Mike Jury's in on the stop for Air Force. Notre Dame 41-13 as you look at Rodney Culver. Irish, their ground attack very well balanced. Brooks with 85, Green with 58. Touchdowns to Green, Johnson, and Rice thus far this afternoon. Notre Dame looking at 2nd down, about 5 at the 42-yard line. Graham on the pitch. Here's Bellis again. Bellis, oh, he's got a big body. He can stretch ahead over the 45 to the 47-yard line.
Looks like he stretched almost to a first down.
I'll be very close to it. 47 seconds left to go. The clock is stopped while they reset the chains. It is going to be a first down.
Massive substitutions in the offensive line. A lot of people getting a chance to play.
Lou Holtz was worried about this one, but he had an opportunity to prepare for it that was rather unique. With the students away, they had the opportunity to really concentrate on the wishbone. Of course, he'll face the wishbone again next week against Navy, so he's pretty happy with the turn of events on the sidelines. Another new quarterback into the ball game now. That's going to be Pete Graham, who holds normally. He'll go on the option, calling his own number to the corner, and not much running room there. 21 seconds left to go in the football game. Clock counting. Air Force making no effort to stop it. And there'll be not another play from scrimmage here this afternoon. As the clock winds down and Lou Holtz leads the possession to midfield as he'll greet Fisher DeBerry and the Air Force staff and their team. An outstanding game for Notre Dame. They took this game over at halftime and just would not let Air Force's wishbone offense on the football field. Our final score, Notre Dame 41 and Air Force 13. We're going to be back after this from your local station. 13 over Air Force. Steve Martin here with Bob Cassiola. Bob, an impressive show by the Fighting Irish today.
They took it to him the second half, control the line of scrimmage, and really shut down the wishbone to prove that they are equally tough on defense. And they're rolling now. They're going to be a tough team for anybody.
7-0 now. The report card reads for the Fighting Irish. They're second ranked in the country. For Air Force, they now fall to 5-3 and move back into the WAC. As we take a look at the crowd here at Notre Dame, the final score, Notre Dame 41, Air Force 13. Next week, the Fighting Irish in Baltimore against Navy on most of these stations at 12 noon. For Bob Cassiola, I'm Steve Martin saying so long from South Bend. You've been watching Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions exclusive coverage of Great American Independent Football.